is up, everyone? It is Saturday morning. Well, here is Saturday morning.
Yep.
It's Saturday morning somewhere, right?
Yep.
It's,
And that somewhere would be here.
yeah. That only means one thing, that you are here with me and Chris for another episode of Metalhead Unite. Excited about today.
Yes, we are.
Special guest joining us here shortly. So just bear with us. I think they're all trying to figure out how they're going to get in here, but
Yep, it actually does. It actually does look like we are going to have multiple guests this morning, and as you guys can see on the little banner right there, we do have Eyes of the Living coming on the show today direct from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we're excited about that. We're not exactly sure how many members of the band we have yet, but we have Tim Swisher, the lead singer, for sure. I don't know if he wrangled anybody else from the band, but we were chatting before we came on here, trying to get all of our ducks in a row and everything, and trying to find out exactly how we're gonna do this whole broadcast thing and how they're gonna enter the studio and all that stuff. So I don't know if they're gonna be on separate feeds or if they're gonna, just sit in a big pile and we'll talk to them that way. So we're not sure yet.
Try to squeeze them all in like the Lord's Supper, like
right, yeah.
So, which always trips me out. Like, who took that picture? Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, we will have them on shortly. So
I didn't even see what are we looking like weather-wise today.
Did you well, it's sunny outside right now.
It's not too bad out there. It's a little crispy, but
yeah, it was. I went to take the dog out, and it was still a little breezy, but I think it's supposed to be 60 today.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's supposed to be like 75 tomorrow, so that'll be nice.
So the reason we're saying this is because it snowed actually here yesterday.
It did. So, it was weird.
So
yeah.
If you like roller coasters, I mean, just move on down to Tennessee. The weather fit right in with you. So.
Oh, there's Tim.
You guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Tim.
Yo,
welcome.
how you doing?
What's up?
I'm a little crooked. Wait a minute. There we go.
We all are. We're all a little crooked.
I'll walk sideways anyways.
Yeah, we're crooked or off center. It's one or the other. So.
we never claim to be straight. That's for sure. Well, I mean, in some cases we do. But
It's good to meet you, Tim. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And Chris might be joining us shortly, the bass player too.
Oh, cool.
All right. That will work.
He's on his way, so he might hop in for a bit too.
All right, cool.
Yeah, nice.
You guys see me okay? I don't know. Am I too lit up? I'm in front of a window.
You're good. Yeah.
I might look ghostly white. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that kind of fits in with the metal scene. So I mean,
it does.
Yeah, it does.
So just to give you a little bit, I was actually at Blue Ridge last year and caught you guys a set, and that's kind of one of the reasons.
Awesome.
So that's kind of one of the reasons. Like it stopped me. Like it's like we talked to John O'Connor from one of the last back in February, and I was telling him the same thing. Like I caught those guys, and then you guys came on a little bit later. And like both of those sets stopped me in my tracks. I'm like walking back and forth between stages, and then I was like, "Hold up, man! What the hell? This shit right here's good, man. Hold up!" So we caught that set, and I was like, "Man, I fell in love with you guys right from the beginning." So
thanks, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm kind of upset with a lot of the like where we get our albums of the week from. I think we use Loudwire most of the time, but the new album wasn't listed on there. It just kind of like, if I hadn't followed you guys on Spotify and Facebook, I probably wouldn't have caught on to. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know exactly. Yeah. So it kind of popped out there like, oh, why didn't they list that? I'm like, what the fuck? But
yeah. But to be honest, a lot of where your stuff shows up has a lot to do with the PR and everything, and the connections and everything. We had stuff on Metal Injection, Ghost Cold, I believe it's called, New Noise, and Metal Rules actually gave us a really nice review, like a little short kind of thing. But it would be nice if the metal websites kind of promoted a lot of the, up and coming bands, it would be awesome.
Right.
I think they're kind of selective.
And that's kind of like me and Chris was talking, and that's kind of like what we created this platform for, was to, get a lot of the lesser known bands on here to try to get them out there.
Right.
We're no, Eddie Trunk or nothing, but I mean, but
Nah, man, it all helps, right?
that's right.
all
Every little bit helps. So,
Yeah.
but we are in different, we go out to different countries too. So it's good to get some
Yep.
people, maybe over in Europe or, India or wherever, where I don't know, we go everywhere. So I can't remember exactly where all we.
Yeah,
We've
we've
gotten comments from people from a lot of places. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize we went that far, But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, we've had commenters from, let's see, from Pakistan, from Turkey. We've had, let's see, we initially, our first international follower that we know of was from Scotland, and then
Nice.
we've had Russia, I believe. I think we've had a follower from Russia. So yeah, we've got and according to the guy who runs our platform here, we're followed relatively well in Scandinavia and the United Arab Emirates, of all places.
Check that out. It's awesome.
So hopefully, if nothing else, we can get you guys a couple more fans out of the deal. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If they don't know what they're missing out on, I'll tell them that. It's
Absolutely, they absolutely do not.
Yeah, this new album is really, really like I don't know. It's really in your face. And it's got like
that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's got like
Nice.
that dark. It's got like a dark tone to it too. So it's kind of like it's kind of like puts you on a little bit of a different emotions listening to it. So
Yeah, I'm glad you're mentioning that, because that's kind of how it felt to me and us when we were writing it. Like that it felt a little bit darker, and it's definitely heavier sounding, I guess, in production wise too. But using a little bit different tuning on that album too. We usually play in drop C, but on that album I wrote some stuff in drop B, so it makes it a little bit thicker, which is kind of not common with I don't know. It's more common with like groove or a new metal type sound or metalcore. But I tried it with thrash, and I thought there's elements where it fits. So that's what we went with.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, the As of Living have a new album that just came out, Fear Comes Knocking. If you haven't checked that out, go and download it on your favorite site there. I use Spotify, but I know a lot of people have iPhones, so I'm sure they use the Apple Store. But actually, I'm a hard copy guy, so I do have the hard copy on the way. So I always like to have that in hand too. So.
Oh yeah, I still got a shelf downstairs in the den.
Yeah, I like hard copies myself too. There's something about holding the material, right?
It is. Yeah.
There absolutely is. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm an album art guy too. So the album art, if there's like really some unique album art that really sticks out. So it's not always the case. Sometimes you just get like the old '80s, 4 or 5 guys on the cover, but it's so I did notice, like when I went onto your guys' site, and if anybody out there listening wants to swing over there, it's eyesofTheLiving.com. They have a shop there, a lot of info about the band, upcoming events, anything you want to know there about Eyes of the Living. I did notice like some of the shirts that you guys had were sold out, I guess.
Yeah, that's
or whatever. So that's
we sold out a lot of stuff at Blue Ridge actually, which kind of shocked us. I mean, it was the stuff was just flying off the stand. It was pretty awesome. And we haven't quite re-upped on some stuff, and we just bought some new shirts that actually had the album cover on it. And when we did that CD release party a few weeks ago, we sold out of all the XL2s and half of everything else. So we got to order. It was a great night for merch sales. It was really awesome. So we got to order more stuff, and then stuff will be coming soon, and it will be going up on the website. So you'll be able to get that new shirt. And a lot of people tend to like that. We have a split zombie shirt too. I don't even know if that's even up on there.
Is it the one with the eye going? The one with the eye going down? Yeah, that graphic is up there. I saw that one this morning. I was like, I'm gonna grab that, but I can't right now.
Yeah, a lot of people really like it, so we're ordering that up too to get that back in stock as well. So
Yeah,
hopefully in the
that's a
coming
that's
weeks.
a cool that's a cool looking shirt. That's
Yeah, it
actually the one
is.
that stood out to me whenever I was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that because a lot of people compliment on it. We're just going to, just keep
Yeah.
pressing them up and,
Mhm.
get them around if that's what people are digging for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading up on you guys. It says you guys have been just going with As a Living since 2016, but
Mm.
you guys obviously been playing longer than that. So what kind of like set the tone for you guys to get together for As a Living?
So, so half the band, I can just give you a quick history. Two of us, me and the bass player from a band that was called Abolish in the 90s. We were like a crossover thrash hardcore type band. And then there was another local band, and we were the prominent bands out of the Philadelphia area called Pummel. And the drummer and the lead guitarist is from that band. And what happened was when kind of like Abolish kind of defunct, we never really broke up. And then some guys in Florida kind of grabbed our name and they actually got a little bit bigger than us, which I thought was kind of funny, but it's cool. It's like, all right. But we had some great shows. I mean, with that band, the biggest show we did was we opened up for Iron Maiden and Fear Factory at this place called Electric Factory. There was like 3,000, 4,000 people there. It was really awesome. But we've done some pretty good things there. But I kind of got out of it a little bit, and I got married, and I had kids. And then during that time, I started. I never stopped writing music or being creative. So what I did was I started learning how to engineer and produce, and I started creating music for television slots, like for publishing companies for television shows. So as I was doing that, I was writing a variety of music, any kind of music you can think of that I felt comfortable working on. And I have a lot of stuff on TV too. It's kind of cool. A lot of it sounds nothing like the band. But during that, I started writing heavy stuff again. And I let the bass player hear it, Chris. And he said, "Hey man, we ought to do a project with this. It's really pretty good stuff." And I said, "Man, I haven't sang in years, and maybe we should, and we'll give it a shot." So I reached out to Mike, the guitar player, the lead guitar player. I said, "Mike, you feel like throwing some solos on some stuff I'm working on?" And he said, "Sure." So us three started getting together. And a lot of the drumming on that album, actually the first one is programming. It's real drumming. It's like a real drummer, but it's real drummers playing through MIDI drumming. And then I take it and basically arrange it to the way it fits the music. Once we did that, we let our original manager from the Abolish days hear it. And he was like, "Oh, these guys got to do something with this. It's too good. You got to put out a full album and get a band together and start playing out again and everything." So that's actually what we ended up doing. I kept saying I was concerned about finding a drummer in this area that was capable of playing what I was writing. And that sounds weird, but drummers and metal, I think drummers are super key to a great band, a great metal band. They really are. Like if you can have great guitarists, vocalists, and everything, but the drummer really isn't pulling everything together and keeping it, tight. It can be, it can be a mess. So, but anyway, we put out like we're looking for a drummer kind of thing. And ironically, out of nowhere, Cliff contacted Mike, the guitar player, who used to be in the band, just to say hi to him. He said, "What are you up to, man?" He said, "Hey," he's like, "I'm playing with Tim and Chris, and we're starting this new project." He's like, "Are you still drumming?" And he said, "Yeah, all the time." He's like, "I'm playing in cover bands right now," and he's like, "You want to try out?" So we sent him something, and he sent us, what we were asking our drummers at the time to do was send us back a couple videos of them playing a few songs. They could choose whatever ones they were that we gave them to try out to. So he sent us a video back playing 2 or 3 songs. It's funny. He was on an electronic drum kit. He's not wearing a shirt. And he's got his daughter's pink headphones on. And he's turning around. He's smiling up. He's like, he's like playing stuff. But he like killed it. And we were like, holy crap, he's freaking killing it. So that's how we started. And then our first show out, I'm pretty sure was May 2017. It was a little bit after our first album came out. We released that independently at first. And we started playing shows in May 2017. And then by May 2018, We had one. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not, but I'm sure you heard of Wacken, right? In Germany, it's supposedly
yeah.
the world's largest.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they started doing like a contest thing, like across the country, like where you could play, battle against each other, and then you might get a chance to play Wacken, fly over and play. In 2018, we won the East Coast aspect of that. And then we went over to California and we played the Viper Room, which I just heard recently that's getting closed down. So it's kind of, it's a shame. It's an iconic place, right? If you know anything about history.
Right.
And then we played there and we came in second. And that's okay, but it was awesome to get to play that venue, to perform in front of real key people. A lot of record company owners, a couple of them were there, and we got a lot of compliments, and that helped, push us even further. And then we went into 2019 and we continued to play, and we were on a pretty good roll. And then COVID hit in 2020, and derailed us, and I'm sure a number of other bands, off our train racks, train trails. I'm sorry, tracks. And so at that point, I just kind of started. I'm going all over the place, and I think I drank too much coffee for you guys.
You're great, man. This is what we're here for, dude.
Yeah.
So I took the time, during COVID, I got furloughed a little bit myself from my day job, and I worked on, focused on working on the new album, and took that time to get new things going with it. But it's a little bit about us. We, once we started playing out in 2017. For that first year, I want to say we played 26, 28 shows. We were literally playing every other weekend, almost every Saturday and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we started going up into Connecticut, Delaware, Jersey, New York. We tried to hit like this area, the East Coast, north and south. And then we went over to California, which was awesome. It's the first time I was ever in California too, believe it or not, in all my life. It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Years ago, we played in Tennessee. Is that where the Cannery's at, right? The Cannery?
Yeah, it's in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Yep. We played the Cannery in my original band, Abolish, with another local band that was called Piranha back then. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but they were pretty good. Yeah, they were awesome guys, and we swapped shows. That's what people, bands do. Even back then, I'm sure they still do it now. We haven't done it much, but they were like, "Hey man, if you set us up with a few shows up there, we'll set you up with a few shows down here," and we did, and it was awesome. It was a great time. These guys can't see my hands. I'm talking with my hands a lot.
No, you're fine.
But
you're the lead singer, so normally you got a microphone in one hand and you're doing something with your other hand. So it's forced to habit. I was actually going to ask you. If, like, not necessarily if you guys had ever been to Tennessee with Eyes of the Living, but if you guys had ever gotten down here at all in any of your other bands. So
I really it was like 96, 97, maybe something like that. Maybe even not. It was in around the time when we played the Iron Maiden show. And it was during the summer. It was hot, but it was awesome. The guys that brought us down there, the Piranha guys, were really nice guys. We all hung out. It was awesome. And it was interesting when we played. People kind of were standoffish a little bit, like they didn't know what we were about and why this in-town band was there. But when we started playing, the whole crowd came up to us, and everyone was real nice afterwards. It was an awesome experience. And I've been meaning to really get there because I just want to visit. Like, there's a little bit of sort of the areas we walked up and down, but there's just some really cool stuff I would like to come back and see.
Oh yeah, the Cannery's still there. They still have tours go through there all the time. I think Jason may have actually been there more recently than I have, but I mean, I've seen bands there, so that place is still there. There's actually a lot of really,
good to hear.
Yeah, there's actually really a lot of course, it's Music City, you would expect it, but I mean, there's still a lot of cool, you got all the the honky tonks and everything downtown. But as far as metal shows go, there's a lot of cool smaller venues that Jason and I have both been to see bands. We got to see Machine Head at one of the smaller venues back in 2018, right before Phil Demmel and Dave McClain left the band. And then, we've seen Steel Panther. I mean, there's plenty of bands we've seen at some of the smaller venues. And of course, the arena where the Predators play, of course, that there's been, Metallica's come through there.
They do. I was going to ask you that they do shows there. I think that was pretty brand new, I think, when we were down there.
And they still use Municipal Auditorium too.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Priest was just there like not long ago. So
nice.
And actually, Tim, yeah, you're right. The arena was if you were here in 96, 97, that the arena would have still been.
It was still being built, probably.
It was still being built, and it may have been getting close to completion because the Predators started in 1998 is when they first started. So if you were here then, yeah, that arena was still in.
Yeah, I remember walking by it and go, "Wow, it's like huge, and it's like right here." And maybe it was still being built. Yeah, that's quite possible. Yeah.
And then of course the stadium was probably being built at that time too. So,
the football stadium.
Yeah, because we didn't actually adopt the Titans until '99. So there was a lot. There's probably a lot that's went up since you've been down there.
Oh, I guarantee you, if you haven't been to Tennessee since the mid '90s, you probably wouldn't even recognize it other than downtown because there's so many high rises here now. It's ridiculous.
We'd love to get back down there for sure. Yeah, maybe
we would love to have you down here too. So.
Yeah,
I best believe I'll be in the audience somewhere.
So. Me too. Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, because Jason and I, we cover every genre here on the show, but at our core, because we're in our 40s, Jason and I. So not trying to tell on both of us, but I mean at our cores, we're both thrash and so that's another reason why, like when especially because like Jason said, he was the one who heard you first because he got to go to the festival, but when he got back, he was going through and he was recapping some of the bands that he heard, and he was going through some of the the smaller the bands from the smaller stages, that we had never heard before. And he mentioned you guys, mentioned One of the Last, and you guys have both been on the show now. And when he told me about you guys, and then he had the album come out, when I heard it, I was pretty much blown away. Being a thrash guy, and that's the kind of music you guys play. It was literally right up my alley, and just from the jump, the very first track, that just the unrelenting pace that it has was just.
Yeah, I think it's a great opening track. It's one of the reasons we picked it there because it's just just keeps going. It doesn't even really have a slow spot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It goes right into a solo and just keeps chugging along. Just like
I know it was fantastic. It
was like double Dutch for a vocalist. You just hit a jump.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I don't know if that was originally the track listing you guys had, or if you jumbled it around a few times, but I think ultimately where it ended up the way you guys put it out, I think you guys pretty much started off on the right foot.
Yeah, the way the process kind of works for us a little bit is mixing the tracks and producing them, and obviously write, and then we all do our parts, and then I do the mixing and the production and all that. I start putting them on a CD, and sometimes I'll just throw them on a CD in random order. And but Scream for Me got done, and I was like, man, this is a really hooky song, so I put it first. So the first 4 songs that you're hearing on that album have been in that order for a while, like when we would listen to it. And I just would say to the guys, I really like this order. It starts off with a really aggressive one, and then it goes into something new that people kind of used to us hearing from us, like, Destroy Everything. It's, comes down, it's a bit different. And then it picks back up with No Name for Doom. And then Scream for Me was the first single we actually put out, and we put that out in 2020 because we were really trying to have the album done sooner. No, 2021. I'm sorry. We were trying to have the album done sooner than 2022, but it just wasn't working out that way. Yeah. Didn't want to rush it. So when we got it out, I wanted to put that, because that single had been out for a while. I wanted to put that further down the set. And actually, Mike said, it's probably better to put that up because it's the title track from the song. And I said, he was right. A lot of people haven't really heard it, and it makes sense to not bury it down too far. Mm-hmm. The arrangement that you're hearing, we were probably listening to for months before we actually got it pressed up and released it and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
What was the sound like, if you don't mind me asking, at Blue Ridge? Did we sound pretty good from that stage? I know that. Go, you're gonna say?
Yeah, so I'll say this, like I said, I was in between, and it stopped me dead in my tracks. So I mean, it was pretty much, I would say CD quality. I mean, I really do think it
Nice.
was CD. Yes, I mean, it was really, really crisp. Everything was really like, you didn't have a lot of echo or anything from y'all's set. So I think it was really good. I know there was a lot of sound problems on one day there. I can't remember what day it was. Like it all ran together there for a little bit. So, but I know they had a drowning pool. I remember had some audio problems over there on one of their stages, and then Cypress Hill had some issues when they were performing, so they had a little bit of sound issues there. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what day you guys were there on, but I know like the Thursday was kind of a clusterfuck. So
That's what we heard.
So yeah, I paid for a parking pass and still had to park 8 miles away from the damn place. I'm just like,
Oh,
dude,
man.
I paid for this so I could be up front, and I have to walk. But I think they got it like kind of figured out after Friday, kind of like settled down a little bit better. And then Saturday, it seemed like they had it all pretty much figured out. Of course, by that point, a lot of people were already frustrated and ready to leave. But yeah.
It was a really, go just.
I was just saying, I think you guys really did sounded really great. Like I said, it stopped me in my tracks when we were walking. I said, hold up, this sounds good. Let's check it out. And
awesome.
I don't regret ever stopping. So
Awesome. Yeah, it was that was we played Full Tar Assault in Illinois on Thursday, and then we drove down, and that was a really cool experience too. And what was nice there was a bunch of the guys up front were like singing the words word to word to a lot of the songs, and I thought that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And they started screaming to the like, I think the coordinator guy was there on stage with us. He's a really nice dude too. But they started yelling like a bunch of guys to the left. You guys should have headlined today. You played too early. It was awesome. So it's nice to hear people that clearly isn't in our state say things like that. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, y'all made a comment a while back on one of your posts. I think it was on Facebook, Instagram. I can't remember where it was at, but I had actually commented on it and said that you guys should be bigger than what you are, and I stand by that because I feel like and you will be. I feel like you guys are actually going in the right direction, and I think you'll be able to, if you wind up being at Blue Ridge or Louder Than Life or whatever again later on down the road, I do think you guys would be on a bigger stage next time. So.
Yeah, we tried to get on Blue Ridge this year again. They reached out to us and asked us to submit like they did. So we submitted to them, but they told us that, there was a lot of, not a lot of submissions, but they had to be selected. They also changed it. I don't know if you heard, but
yeah, it's at Virginia Speedway this year. So
yeah, and they're doing like just a metal stage that's only going to be metal instead of mixing it. And then they're doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're changing it up. And I think one's going to be like more all rock. And then there's two other ones. It's going to be like a Lollapalooza, like maybe like a blend of newer sounding stuff. That's how they explained it, which I think is cool because I also thought that if we would have ended up on a stage that where we were playing next to like where Megadeth or, during that time was playing any of those other bands, even Lamb of God, if that crowd would have got to hear us a little bit more.
Right.
It was, I mean, we were still playing, even though directly in front of us, there were, maybe hundreds of people, but right to the left, there were thousands, everyone lined up to watch Shinedown, and everyone was there. When we looked over, there were people staring right at us, and they couldn't get away from the sound, right?
Yeah, right.
It was that loud. So, they were checking the sound. There was a lot of heads bobbing. So, it was good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's like the good thing that I like about the festivals is you get to hear a lot of bands that you normally don't listen to, and you hear it live. So I think if you're getting a positive, reaction from a live show, then you really have, you're going to get that from a CD. I mean, if everybody's digging it live, they're going to dig it on the CD. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And that's one of and I haven't personally, I haven't been to a festival in damn near 20 years, but the last festival I was able to go to was Ozfest in '04.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, just, life gets in the way. I haven't been able to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Like he got to go to Blue Ridge last year. So, but that's one of the things that I loved when I was able to go to festivals is there were, you go initially, obviously, for the big bands, because you see them on the bill and you're like, I got to go see this guy and I got to go see this guy and I got to see this guy. But then, you show up in the morning, you get there 8, 9 o'clock and you get into the venue. And then that's what, all right, which stage you want to go to first? Who do you want to check out first? And that's what I loved about going to the festivals is there were bands that I'd never heard of before that you discovered. And there are some bands that I still listen to now.
Right.
So I remember back when I went to Ozfest in '99, that's where I first heard Slipknot. That's where I first heard
I was just
Disturbed.
going to say that to you. That's where they started, right? Didn't they
Yeah.
get their put through Ozfest, right?
Basically, yeah. So, I first heard Slipknot, Disturbed. Fear Factory had been around, obviously, but that was the first time I had seen them live. And then, there are a couple other bands that I remember seeing that, aren't that are not around anymore, unfortunately. But I mean, that happens. But I love the fact that festivals are still around, and I like that there's more of them in this country. I'm glad that there's festivals like Blue Ridge. I'm happy for you guys that you guys got to go because especially with the way technology is now, the festivals allow the exposure, and then the exposure can lead to, the spread of everyone's media. So, you guys got to go on the festival. Jason saw you guys. Now you're here on the show, and hopefully we can, like he said, hopefully we can help be some sort of springboard.
Yeah, man.
For you guys to get more exposure and more people see your stuff, because your guys' stuff deserves to be heard by more people than, no offense to the Northeast or anything, but because there's a lot of people in the Northeast, but I mean, want to get you guys exposed to, the Midwest, the West Coast, people overseas. Because like I say, we've got people overseas who check out the show. Maybe they'll go to Spotify and they'll check out the new album, which they should. So, but again, with the amount of festivals in this country now, I like that there's so many, because there's bands that deserve the exposure. And so I'm glad that those avenues are available. So hopefully, with you guys not being able to do Blue Ridge, hopefully there's another one you guys will be able to latch onto, because there are definitely more people who need to hear your guys' music. Jason and I both believe that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying. There's still a possibility we might be able to play Full Terror, Assault this year, but I think even if some festivals don't pull through this year, we'll keep playing around, and then we're going to try and set some dates up that get us kind of out of this area, maybe a little bit more west, later in the year or something. But next year, I think a lot of festivals, even though, unless you're like a national, they don't tend to always want to bring you back every single year.
Right.
Most get treated a little bit different. But we're hoping next year for sure we can get back on Blue Ridge. That would be awesome.
I will say this, like I remember going to a local festival we had that used to be held by a radio station that used to play rock music.
Yeah, a radio station that still claims to be a rock station.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, in the beginning they were doing pretty good. So they had like what they call Buzz Fest, and it was based on the radio station's name, which was the Buzz.
Okay.
But they had 2 or 3 different stages there too. And I remember one year seeing Flyleaf on one of the stages, and me and my wife were talking to each other. I was like, man, this band's not going to be on this kind of platform long.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the following year they were on the main stage. So
yeah, I saw them live, and they were really impressive. They were really good. Yeah.
And you just had that different, that different sound from bands like that that push them up into the next level. And I think that you guys do have a different sound, even though everybody thinks, oh, well, it's thrash. I'm gonna dig it. I still think it's different because I like the range of the vocals in the new album. Kind of set that tone for, hey, we can be more than just thrash.
Right.
We can do other things in the metal genre. So, and I think that's what a lot of people need to like focus a lot more on, instead of trying to be, trying to say, oh, well, this, trying to be one dimensional with their likes, I guess.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not a big death metal fan, but I have come across a few albums. I'm like, I can dig it. I can listen to it.
Right.
But if people tend to think, oh well, death metal's all the same. You just listen to the music because you can't hardly understand anything anybody's saying. But
you hear so many people say that about death, and I have actually said that a lot of times. I actually I found out about Behemoth like maybe 6 years ago. I bought like a compilation DVD or something, and they had a video on there, and I was like, it wasn't the video, but it was the song itself. Because it wasn't, the guitar playing was real. I don't know what the name of the song is, but it's like and it's like so the rhythm itself is kind of like sparse, and it's not like I do listen to some stuff like that, but it was different to me, and the singing was real heavy, but he was doing like this odd layering with it. And it just caught me, and so I listened to them off and on, even to this day. I still like them, but I always, when I first listened to them, I'm like, wow, this music's great, but the singing, I'm not sure. And that's what you always hear. But I don't know. I think if you listen to certain ones, they grow on you, and then you're like, ah,
they do, yeah. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Even though I'm kind of technically one dimensional with thrash and speed metal, type of guy, and I'm a big Ice Nine Kills fan, so I'm kind of
okay.
got into that genre too. So I'm kind of getting a little bit of new metal and so metalcore. I listen to a little bit of all that. And then like Chris is what makes this work so well. Is Chris is more of the melodic metal from over in overseas.
Okay.
So we kind of have different interests, and so with us tying it all together, it makes it a whole show. So
I have a young, well, he's young, he's a 19-year-old son, and he's actually a great drummer, and I think he's going to do really big things. And he's playing in a metalcore band now, and I was blown away by the stuff he let me hear just for it being his first project. I was like, what? But it's like really good. But they don't have a name or anything, but they wanted me, him and my other older son, 23-year-old, asked me to go to what the heck is the band with the female singer? Just came out right now. I'm sorry, and the name popped.
Spiritbox.
Spiritbox, right? Spiritbox, and there was another band with them. And he always listens to them a lot, and I really like them. I mean, I don't know, Spiritbox, I'm just like, wow, like the girl has an amazing voice, and the range is crazy, right? And but they were really, really good live. Like I missed them at Blue Ridge. I think they played Thursday. And missed them.
I can't remember. I think I missed them too on Thursday, because Thursday was, like I said, was kind of a cluster, and my main thing was to get in to see Soulfly and Testament, which I missed because of the parking situation, which pissed me off. But luckily I'm catching Testament here in a couple of weeks with Death Angel and Exodus. So
awesome. That's a great lineup. That's a great lineup.
It is a great lineup.
Yeah, I caught Suicidal there at the Blue Ridge, and they were really freaking good. Yeah. Their drummer looks really young, and he was freaking amazing.
I think the coolest thing about their set was they had Rob Trujillo's son playing bass for them that day. So it was kind of wild to have their original bass player son playing with us. So, and that was like his first show. They was telling me, they were saying that was his first big show.
Wow.
I was like, oh wow, that's no pressure, kid. You're
just I know, right? Yeah,
60,000 people, man. Here you
go. Right, exactly. No pressure. Yeah, it was. They were super awesome. I called Anthrax. I called a number of other bands. We actually got there Friday, and then we hung out, and I went out and we walked around and watched bands, and called a lot of. It was an awesome event. There was a lot of dirt though flown around.
But, it was a lot of that though.
Yeah. I was like, man, how many people?
We got plans on going again this year, so hopefully they got their stuff together this time. We'll see.
They said they're offering up like go-kart rides and helicopter rides or small mini track racing and all and everything to the fans. I was like, that's freaking awesome. I'm like, man, I would have loved to experience that. That'd been awesome. Maybe next year. I heard they were supposed to be there next year too, so that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Tim, we actually have a question out of the chat room. We have a commenter on Facebook, and you did touch on it just a little bit, but she asks, where do you see your band going in the future and maybe touring? So,
the band going in the future. So I am always writing, and I'm actually working on new material like now. I write quite often. So one of the first things I think that needs to happen is to try and get another album out sooner than the 2-year mark.
Mhm.
So I've been kind of crunching on that a bit. And in the future, tour wise, to me, there's two different things. Like a booking agent will tell you, or a promoter, like that's kind of good for a band. Either get on a tour and do several dates in a row, even if they're broken up, with a band that's pretty close to like what your band might be, and or play festivals, because just as Jason pointed out, there's tens of thousands of people there, and you're not playing. It's a little bit less risky, like driving across the country and playing in front of, even though playing in front of small crowds pay off because people will talk about you, the word will spread, but you're getting a bigger chunk of people at a time.
Sure.
That might give you better exposure. So I think we need to do a little bit of both. So I think we might need to kind of focus on, maybe a little tour of some sort, getting on with some band that kind of we fit with well. And then also, continuing to press the play on the festivals to get bigger exposure to a broader audience. We actually played from Reading, PA, opened up for Obituary, and
Nice.
they're a great band, and their crowd loved us. It was unbelievable. Like when we got off the stage, there were 15 people in line at the merch table. It was unbelievable. It was just like, wow. And I thought to myself, if we could get on tour with a band like that, where apparently our sound, their crowd's digging what we're doing, we could really, open up a bunch of new ears.
Mhm.
So that would be a great thing to do, for sure.
And I could see you guys like being on a good tour with like Killswitch Engage, kind of bands like that too. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I mean, I know you guys are a little bit more thrashier than they are, but I mean, I just think a lot of those fans kind of veer both ways. A lot of
I
times,
agree.
Yeah, when you're listening to bands like that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I totally
Well,
agree.
I recommend a couple of cities when you guys go out on tour next. I mean, one of them obviously is Nashville from a self-serving standpoint, but I'm also originally from just outside of Detroit. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. So
Okay.
but I do know that that the southeastern part of Michigan, a lot of major tours go through there, and Detroit is kind of like Nashville in the respect that there's a lot of cool smaller music venues, and then we do a segment here on the show. It's called Hitting the Road, where we try to update everybody on the tours that have been announced in the previous week leading up to the show. So, and there's a lot of tours that go through Detroit and some of these smaller venues, and there's also a couple of really, really big rock radio stations, legitimate rock radio stations.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
That play that have been around ever since I was a kid and before. So there is a big rock and metal presence, in the southeastern part of Michigan. So if you guys can, if you guys go out, and Detroit's not super duper far from where you guys are at too. So depending on how far you guys want to reach out, but so I would recommend trying to get into Detroit, Ann Arbor, somewhere around there. I think your guys' sound would play really well there too. So
thanks, Chris. Thanks for the recommendation. Awesome.
Yeah.
Just one of the things that kind of led me and Chris up to doing what we're doing now was we always talked about doing a radio station. Like we was going to do an actual metal radio station.
Yeah, because we're tired of
hard rock and heavy metal. But
yeah, because we're tired of there not being one. Especially around here. So.
And like a lot of people, don't like to hook up their Bluetooth every time they get in the car. I know if I had a radio station that played all this stuff, I wouldn't do it. I just listened to the radio station that played all the stuff I like. So but you can't. Like I said, the local rock station, they'll play on Metallica or something like that, and then they'll play some, not knocking them or anything, but they'll play like 30 Seconds to Mars or something, which, to me, yeah, it's rock, but it's not rock and heavy metal, which is what they come in based off of. So they just kind of like they transition into mainstream, media, and just playing what everybody else listens to. And I said,
my thing is,
but my thing is, if I want to listen to that, there's 4 other stations that play it. So why do you need to play it if there's 4 other stations that play it?
You would think they might have a chance of drawing a different group of listeners to them that could be pretty big. Yeah, when I was younger, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when I was younger, Our local radio stations were doing like I think it was 2-hour segments of like, metal, like rural metal. And that's how I found out about Slayer and like Exodus and stuff like that, like, because that's what they were playing.
Mhm.
And so I can totally see, I totally agree with you guys. Yeah, if radio stations, legit radio stations, would kind of take that on and just play stuff that's a little bit heavier. There is a DJ, and on I think we only really have one prominent rock station right now, 93.3. Those guys, there is one DJ that will throw in like really heavy stuff like every once in a while. Like she's like in this and stuff like that. She'll throw like one of their slower songs, if you want to call it slower.
Right. Yeah. We actually did we have another segment on the show where Jason and I will come up with a topic, and then we'll come up with 10 songs based on the topic. And I remember one of the earlier top 10 segments we did was about ballads, but they were in quotes. Because basically a heavy metal ballad it's still they just slowed it down a little bit. So,
right. Yeah.
So, and obviously, there's power ballads from the 80s and stuff like that. But, when we basically, like you said, when you talk about a ballad in metal, more often than not is like they just pulled back the tempo by about 50%. So,
right.
But it is kind of, go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, growing up in that time frame of the late 80s, early 90s, and being a teenager in that time period and listening to metal, I can see where people can get lost in like one genre over another, because like I said, like Kristen said, the hair metal, whatever they want to call it, hair metal, glam metal, whatever they want to say, was the big thing then. So we can, people that were listening to Maiden and Metallica and all those bands like in the beginning kind of like ventured off into Poison and Warrant and all those guys, because that's what was big. Not necessarily, as a teenager, you're thinking, oh, well, I can play this Poison song and get laid. I'm not going to, I'm not going to get laid playing Seasons to the Abyss. So,
let's not be too hasty. Let's not be too hasty.
I remember when we were in our first that band Abolish, and we played this small, it was like a beef and beer. It was actually awesome. It was upstairs above like this bar, and when everyone was leaving, there was like 3 or 4 guys down in the stairwell, and they were singing I can't remember what the band name is. I don't know, can't remember. It was like a ballad, and they were harmonizing it, and I swore they were doing it trying to draw the attention of the guys coming down with the girls. You know what I mean? Like, look, we're really singing. Those bands were screaming, like,
right.
I was like looking at them like, get out of here, guys.
But, and it's just like, I think like, like growing up in that period and now thinking about, I would not probably be talking about Poison or Warrant unless it was brought up like this way, because it was like a come and gone type of thing, you know what I mean? So it's like it came and went so fast, and like maybe one of the few bands that stick out is Skid Row, because Skid Row kind of did their thing with that, but they also had a little bit more of a speed stuff to their So that I'll like venture back toward that a little bit more, than saying talking about like Poison and Warrant and those type.
Hey,
Chris is with us now, by the way, guys. I don't know if you see him. Can you see him?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good,
nice
man. How you
to
doing,
meet
bro?
welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And I will say this,
at all.
I will say this, like, if anybody ever says, "Oh, well, these guys just got something handed to them," I will smack the shit out of them for you, because, like, you guys, like, every time we like try to talk to you guys, are like, "Oh, we're practicing," or we're doing it. It's like you're always like working, and that's like,
yeah.
I mean, I so admire that. It's like I feel like a lot of bands get to a certain point, and they're like, we don't have to do all that anymore,"
Yeah, we're actually our own worst critics. We're always real hard on each other. Like when we play shows where like, oh, this wasn't the best, that wasn't the best, and then we walk off the stage and people are like, yo, these guys killed it, and we're like, okay, maybe it wasn't that good.
Yeah,
It's like,
you know, and I think anytime, like just to give a little background, I used to be a pro wrestler, so I did that for like 18 years. So I can relate to that a lot of times when they're talking about performing, because you know, I'd go out and be like, oh man, that match sucked or whatever, and then you go out and the fans are like, man, that match was awesome. I'm like, really?
Right.
You know,
It's
but,
really different, right? It's
yeah.
yeah. It's odd. But I think that's good though, because that makes you want to do better, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that was like my biggest problem is like I wanted each match to be better than the last one, and like at some point you can't get any better. So I mean, it's like you know, okay, I've done all this stuff, and then you got to like take this part of one match and this part of one match, put it together to make something different, and it's a lot of creativity. A lot of people don't realize that as far as
absolutely.
like that goes, and you know. I wished I could play an instrument. I really do, because I would love to.
Me too.
I would just love to jam out, man. I don't even care about doing anything else. I just like to go out and maybe wake a few neighbors every once in a while.
But yeah, no one's gonna be able to say and with any honesty that you guys don't put in the work, because you guys can definitely hear it in the quality of the album.
Thanks,
that being said, how long, and Tim, I know you touched on this a little bit when you were talking about the arrangement of the album. When did you know that, how long did it take you guys to listen to everything and to go back over it to realize that it was done to where you wanted it?
So I, like I was saying earlier, I write often, and I'm actually working on new stuff. So for that album, I probably wrote like 20 pieces of music. Now they might not have been full songs. They might have been parts. Sometimes like I'll write something and I'll let the guys hear it, and they say, yeah, we think this is good and that's worthy. And then when it comes to the recording the vocals, when I start throwing vocals down, if the song pops and it feels hot, then I focus on it, and I'll complete that song or say, yeah, this one should probably stick. What these guys think? And I'll let them hear it. Chris is always there when I'm doing the vocals, and he'll throw suggestions at me and stuff to try and keep me out of what would you call it, either a rut or a constant things. He'll say, try and do this a little higher, or do this a little bit lower, or what do you think about this? But it is a back and forth process for quite some time.
I have a stack of CDs in my car from all the rough mixes and final mixes, and what do you think of this? And I just put them in because I drive a lot going back and forth to work, and it's just a process. So we gotta, I don't know if Tim mentioned on this, but me and Tim are both artists, and one thing we learned is like, the one thing you have to do is decide when something's done. It might not be totally complete, might not be exactly how you want it,
right?
But you have to walk away from it, because you're always wanting to be tweaking it. You're always wanting to fix something. You know what I mean? So eventually you just got to step away and say, okay, this is good. We're happy with this.
Yeah, Chris, I know on your bio page it said you draw art by hand, so I can kind of see that kind of thing, because my daughter, she would kind of do the same thing, and my daughter and my wife can both draw really well, and I'm sure Chris is someone who draws stuff by hand too. At some point, you got to be like, all right, I don't need to add any more color, I don't need to add any more lines, so I can kind of see how that would be the way you look at it, whether you, like you say, if it's not 100% done, if 98 is in the right spot and it sounds the way you guys want it to sound, then that other 2% is like, fuck it, we don't need that other 2%. This is the way we wanted it to sound. So 98 becomes 100. So that
what's cool about the technology too, with everything being digital today, as opposed to analog. Doing it on a reel-to-reel mixing, is you have unlimited tracks. You have the ability to tweak things over and over again with effortless time. And because a lot of it's, not a lot of it, but everything on this album was recorded in a house. Whereas the last one, some of the vocals were done in the studio. But what it allows me to do is go back and tweak things. And Chris was always, he was like, the first album, he felt like the bass wasn't the best. And when you listen back to it, you kind of think like, yeah, it wasn't. So one of the things I concentrated on this time around was improving the bass sound. And you know, you go online, you find techniques for things. On this album, it's actually 2 lines of bass. I can tell you because it's kind of neat. But 2 tracks of bass, one's direct and one's actually mic'd to either a sim or an amp sound itself. And then you used 1 frequency for the bottom end, and you split the other one into the high end. And this allows you to balance out the high and mids over the bass a lot better, and it creates a lot more bite and a lot more definition in the bass. So
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I can hear it.
Yeah, so there were things like that that I had learned during this process that I think helped improve the sound. But it's kind of like you guys touched on. At some point, you say it's done, and you know, once one song's mixed, you know, you pretty much save a template, and then you're just dropping in the tracks from the next song. Obviously, things have to be tweaked because I don't use the same amount of guitar tracks. So we might have samples or keyboard or something going on to emphasize certain things, additional vocals. But that gives you the bass line for every single track and a good starting point. So it gets a little bit quicker as time goes on. But overall, I would say we probably spent maybe, I would say really altogether, at least 6 to 8 months on it, you know, back and forth. And if I was like, you know, I'm a little bit of a nitpicker, and Chris keeps me in line. He'll say,
Because he's an artist too, so he constantly wants to fix something, always wants to make it perfect.
I'm like, well, what do you think if it's done like this? And then, you know, at some point he'll start going, nah, man, I think it's good enough. And then Mike and Cliff, when they hear it, they just go, hey, man, it sounds amazing. Like Mike's very complimentary. He's like, I can't believe that this is us sometimes when I listen to it, you know? And I'm like, no, it is. It's us, you know?
I guess having a couple artists, you know, in the group, you guys can actually take turns pulling each other back on. Okay, look, you just pull the reins. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
And Chris, you said you felt like the bass wasn't as good on the first album. Hey, at least they didn't end Justice for All You. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. I always bust his chops about it. I was like, fuck it better than you again.
So when you said you had like a stack of CDs with like mixes or whatever, so is that something you guys may like wind up going back to at some point and like pulling something from that, maybe for something for the future, or y'all just got to keep that on the back burner just in case you want to use it? Or
So you want to answer?
I was gonna say, well, some of it is like the beginning process, like Tim said, like he'll give us like tracks of sample riffs, sample songs that he had created, and some of them, yeah, there are a lot of things on some CDs to where we picked the 10 that we're at now, but then after that, it's just like rough mixes, like what do you think of this, or you know, are these vocals good enough, or the drums loud enough, and so forth like that. So most of them are just of these songs and mixes going on as we go forward in the writing process.
Gotcha. I just noticed like a lot of bands will be like, oh well, I wrote 20 songs, but only 15 made the album. So you know, it's kind of like one of those things where I just wondered if you guys had a lot of stuff that you were kind of sitting on, and like maybe it would fit better in an album going down the road. Or
Yeah, absolutely. There was probably, I would say, at least 3 or 4 full songs with some vocals on them that will probably make it to something in the future. A couple of them were a little bit darker and even like I don't know if you want to call it doomier sounding. So when we listen to it, we might be like, this song's good, but it doesn't kind of fit the feel of the album or the rest of the music on the album. So we kind of pull it apart. But it doesn't mean it's a bad song. They just kind of, you know, what's funny? Some of the reviews that we've been getting for this album, depending on where they're coming from, there's been a lot of positive stuff. But it seems like some of the European people, maybe reviewers, even some from like South America. We've actually had a tremendous amount of listeners from South America really start to dig our stuff. Which is awesome. But the reviewers will say things like, you know, there's like a kind of groove going on, and then some thrash, and then, you know, it still sounds like they're trying to find who they are. And I can't answer the reviews, but to me, it's more about writing what I'm hearing, or not hearing in my head when I say that, or what I feel. So it could be thrash, it could be heavy, but at the same time, if I feel moody, you know, I want to write something moody, and that's maybe call that groove or doomy or whatever. And if I still think it's great, that's what we go with.
And that's like I was mentioning, in the beginning, that's what I liked about the album is it kind of didn't have like a one tone pace. I
Right.
mean, it was kind of, it kind of took you on an emotional ride, and that's what I liked about the album.
Yeah,
It wasn't like well, this is thrash. Here's what you get. And I think that's what I'm, from what you're saying, that's what I feel like they're being like as a fan is like, oh, well, we're expecting this, but we got that. I mean,
Mhm.
you can't be like that as far as like, like I said, I'm not a death metal fan, but if I pick out a death metal album, we do album reviews on here every week,
Mhm.
and we usually pick bands that we don't know. So, and that's what's good about the show is like we pick bands we don't know. And we're like, oh, I like this band. Let's try to get them on the show. So,
Mhm.
and it kind of helps. Hopefully it helps boost both of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it kind
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
boost us up and then boost you guys up. So, and that's one of the reasons we like doing the interviews as well. But I think that's where a lot of people, as a fan, look at it as a fan instead of as a professional. It's like, oh, well, this and this and this, and like you can't like do that without actually feel like I feel like they don't feel. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just listening, but they're not feeling what's being there and
Mhm.
put out there. So I get real emotional when I listen to a lot of albums, and so I kind of like I try to feel what these guys are feeling when they're writing, and it's not to say that I know exactly what they're going through, but you can feel like a certain type of emotion with a song, just like I was telling you with the album, it kind of like come out in your face, and then it kind of like went a little dark. I'm like, oh, I dig this because
Yeah.
Right.
you kind of feel it,
That's also what I liked about it too, is that, when, like I say, the first song, it just kicked off like at 100 miles an hour. But then what I liked about it is that it didn't go down a straight line. It kind of, went in different directions. And I liked the diversity of the pace on the album from start to finish.
Thank you.
From where it starts to where it ended. Obviously you get from point A to point B, but you don't always have to go in a straight line. And, taking the quote unquote, the scenic route, as far as, the pace and the tone and everything else, that's what I liked about it, of course. And like I say, being a thrash metal guy, both of us, so it was right in our wheelhouse from the get-go. But the way that you laid out every track, I loved the way it flowed. So
Thanks, man.
yeah.
That's what I say. Like you had the the screen for me that kind of in your face and all that. And then you kind of like wilted down into like the No Name for Doom, and it kind of got that dark, eerie
Mhm.
feeling from that. And then you right back with like Fear Comes Knocking, the title track. So it was kind of like it took you on a great roller coaster ride, and I loved it.
Awesome.
And the funny thing for me is Jason and I have talked about this on this show before. You just mentioned the review that came from, what would you say? We say it was South America. You said it was South America.
Yeah. It was in Spanish. I had to translate it.
Yeah.
That's always
that review you just talked about is like a perfect example of you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because that one particular reviewer said your guys' albums sound like you were still trying to find yourself. Jason and I think it was fantastic. But at the same time, if this album would have sounded like the first two, they probably would have said, well, they just do the same shit over and over again. Maybe they should do something different. You try to do something different, then you get raked over the coals. Well, it doesn't sound like everything else you've done. You guys have got to, collectively as a genre, people need to make up their minds what they want. You want a band to do the same thing over and over again, or you want them to try something different. I don't know if you guys listen to Disturbed or not, but Jason and I are Disturbed fans, and we've talked about them, probably ad nauseum when the whole repetition thing comes up. They got raked over the coals, and they were actually starting to be made fun of because Disturbed does the same shit on every album. So they took a hiatus, they went away, they come back with Evolution, literally evolved their sound because that's what people wanted. They come back out with this album. They're like, it doesn't sound like Disturbed. It's like, well, no shit. That's what you said you wanted us to do. So, I mean, that review you were talking about is a perfect example of you literally can't please some people like ever at all. So it kind of boggles our mind because, like you say, we do review bands every week, and we try to stick with, bands that are new to us, but every once in a while, obviously somebody big comes out with something, so we'll listen to, because Bullet for My Valentine, they had a new album come out last year. Obviously, the both of us listened to that.
And a new single just came out yesterday.
It did, yeah. So and it was fantastic.
When did that album come out? Or is it coming out?
Their new album came out November of last year.
Okay.
So it's been out for about 4 months. They came back out. They actually changed their sound back to kind of the way they played when they first came out.
Thank
So
God.
it was yeah. That was a welcome thing. But but at the same time, like, we're not professional album reviewers, and in one aspect, I think that kind of helps us, because in like your guys' case with your brand new album, we don't do this all day, every day. So with us not being professionals and actually being genuine fans of the genre, I think, not to toot our own horns, but I think the way that that Jason and I look at our album reviews is more genuine, for lack of a better, because we're actually listening to the music for what the music is. We're not picking apart, that chord sucked and that bass line didn't fit here, and I don't know why the hell they played that drum part, and all that other shit. So so I think I kind of think we review albums better. I don't know. I think we get. I kind of think our album reviews are a little bit more real, in an aspect of, like, the people who actually will go out and buy the music, go to the shows, buy the merchandise, and will actually tell their friends, you guys have got to hear this shit. It's fucking awesome. So,
I think
just somebody sitting at a keyboard and writing for an album just to make sure that they can get content out and they can draw eyes to a website or something else. I think it's a little bit different. And sometimes I think some of these album reviewers kind of court controversial album reviews on purpose. Maybe, I don't know. Not to ramble, but
well, it's just like we just admitted that we're thrash guys and speed metal guys. So I mean, you have those type people like at Metal Injection. I noticed, like, when they did their year in review, a lot of the ones that one of the guys there that write for him picked was all death metal. I mean, that's just what he likes. So I mean, but I feel like it needs to be more. I don't think it needs to be one track. I think it needs to include, okay, well, this death metal album was great, but this thrash metal album was awesome. This new metal. I think it needs to be a little bit of diversity there, and not just a one-dimensional type thing. Yeah. And I think that's where the genre is losing a lot of traction, is because it's not, they're not reporting it, evenly across the board. Whereas, I'm a death metal fan, I'm just going to report on death metal bands. Well, that's all fine and dandy, good, but there's also other bands out there that deserve to be put out there, and that are not death metal. So, like I said, we're not death metal fans, but if there's a death metal band that's out there and people, want us to talk about it or whatever we do,
we do.
because we have, we're not against it. We're just not, that's just not our go-to. So
ironically, I think that the review that I'm talking about, they primarily review death metal.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, I mean,
right, and so it's like exactly. So he's listening for a certain element thing, and he's not really looking at it for, like, what you guys were touching on, like, where if there could be diversity or whatever. Like, every song kind of has the same feel for the albums that they rate it much higher, or but they kind of sometimes they word it nicely. They'll say, it's not my kind of thing, but you might like it, so give it a listen. That's how they always end it. Oh, but you
and we're guilty of that too. We've done that
too.
Yeah,
no, and to be honest with you, I would say the same thing. I've said to these guys, if I heard something new, I go, I really like it. You may not, but give it a listen. I think a lot of us do that. In general, because it's true. Everyone has their own preferences, their own taste. I am, Chris is, Mike and Cliff. We're all old school thrash metal guys. That's grew up with metal. Or Black Sabbath, Ozzy. I even like Dio and you know,
Oh, yeah, love Dio.
Right.
Mhm.
Queens, right? Yeah,
There's so much.
Merciful
Yeah,
Fate.
exactly.
Even Brad, Out of the Cellar, that Brad album is, I think, is amazing production wise, everything. Song structures.
We have like a broad background, but obviously once I got into thrash, that's where it was like that was my niche. That's what I wanted to do. I just
Sure.
always
I know-
like to play fast.
Right.
I know when I talk to a lot of people about some of the bands I like from back, in the 80s and 90s. I bring up a band, Sabotage, and a lot of people like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I forgot about that. A lot of people forget about bands like that because
Mhm.
they haven't done something, anything in so long, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, forget about those guys, but they were great.
Mhm.
It's like, you had mentioned something about your previous band, Abolish. So is there anything out there that people can stream to get any of that
Yeah,
music? Or
the album is up on YouTube. My voice
Nice.
is unbelievably higher than it is now. When I used to sing, I sung in a very high, almost like I was a huge Nuclear Assault fan. So
Okay,
very
all
much
right.
like John Connolly, sort of like, but when I listen to it now, like we still get like, people say, "Oh my God, play some of the old, a couple of the old songs, on our new set." And I always say, "Well, we're so much different now," and people kind of, play some old Abolish, and we never do it because there's people that show up from that era sometimes for us. But it's different. It's a different sounding music. But remember I was telling you about the MMR or 94 YSP before it became a sports station. They would have those 1 or 2 hour segments of either loud and local or metal. The one radio station would play us every week for weeks. What the heck was the name of that song?
Live to Breathe Again.
Oh, Live to Breathe Again. Yeah, Live to Breathe Again. I'm sitting here, what the heck is that song? It's funny when I would have to like probably relearn some of the stuff, but as soon as I hear it, the words and all come right back to me.
Yeah.
But it's on there. It just sounds a lot different. I think what we're doing now, and back then we didn't have the studio time really for me to kind of like work on my vocals and say, hey, is this all right? It was kind of like, this is the way we rehearsed it. This is the way it's going to go on tracks,
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But when I listen to it now, I kind of wish I would have like now when I do vocals, particularly, I think JC touched on it. I tried to work on a different kind of layering, vocal style, a little bit different delivery than what I have been doing. And I still, every time I write new music, that's always something that's in my head. Like, what can I do that might be a little bit more different? I've had people say to me, can you sing a little bit more? And I'm like, I probably can, but for whatever reason, once I start playing, I hear myself just doing those burst yells, and they end up being a prominent thing on the recordings. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just went on a complete tangent.
No,
man,
you're fine.
you're awesome.
Yes, yes, there you go. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chris.
Hell no. I mean, I talked about your album going in a windy road. Jesus, this show never. Since we've been doing this, I don't think this show has gone in a straight line 1 week ever. I don't think it's ever done that.
No,
So don't worry about it.
Something that happened like in the news or whatever, and then we get on tirades, especially with like Grammys and the Hall of Fame type stuff. We
Oh God, yeah.
we in our
The Hall of Fame selections are startling sometimes, and the people that get in just blow my mind. Sometimes I hear about it and then I just kind of tune out from it, but it's just like, man, what are they doing? Like,
Shout out to Dolly though for saying that she didn't deserve it to be
Right,
on the ballot though. Shout
Well,
out to her.
the thing is that she's going to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is the genre that she sings.
Mhm, yeah.
So it's like,
Right.
if you want to, they just change it to the Music Hall of Fame and quit calling it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's what
right.
me and Chris keep saying. It's just like, don't keep trying to just like our radio station keeps saying they're a rock station when they play bullshit. So
it was like that year when Jethro Tull won the heavy metal.
right, right.
God, yeah.
Over Metallica. Everyone was like, "What?"
And I think, and like a lot of the times, it's not even televised anymore. It's like pre-recorded for the metal genre. So I think a few years ago, Megadeth won something, and they played a Metallica song while they went up. I'm like, you guys don't even know what they even sing, and you were giving them a damn award. It's like,
Right.
Well, and Avenged Sevenfold was nominated a few years after that, and they didn't even go because they were like, "Fuck it! Even if we win, we're not going to get on TV. So what's the point?" So
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I mean, like you said, I think my wife actually shared a video on our Facebook page from with Odaris from Guar, saying, you know, it's all a joke. I wouldn't show up even if they gave it to me. It's like, but I mean, and it has. I mean, and they've made it that way because of what they've done, and you know, leading up to now is like it's always been. Like you said, you know, a metal band not winning the metal award, or you're
Right.
playing the wrong music to. I mean, they've made themselves the joke, and nobody takes them serious. So
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, so see,
Yeah.
you know,
So in order to avoid, we steer this ship back in the right direction. Sometimes we do have to catch ourselves, you know, because that happens.
That's okay. I don't mind
So-
the conversation.
Yeah. So the you guys have got a rehearsal session going on today here in a little bit. How long do those usually last? Do you guys have a schedule? Because I know Tim, I know you said you guys have day jobs. Are your day jobs Monday through Friday, so you guys have the weekends
Yeah.
to rehearse?
Yeah, no, we rehearse on Wednesday night and Saturdays, and sometimes Sunday if we can't do Saturdays together.
Okay.
Wednesday is always kind of like there's like a pretty set kind of thing we'll do. Wednesdays is running through. Right now we're running through the new songs a lot because even though at the last show we played 4 of them, and everyone said that they thought everything sounded great to us. Like I was saying earlier, we're a little rough on each other.
Right.
We thought that they weren't as tight as they were. So on Wednesdays we'll focus primarily on that. Maybe throw in one of the old ones because we can play them like you know, something written on the back of our hands. It's easy. And then on Saturday, we'll kind of continue the same thing, but throw a little bit more of the older songs from the first album in there. And then maybe even start working on a couple other new tracks that are off the new album.
I was gonna
Our
ask that
process
next.
is
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, our process is weird. Like when the albums get written, and this is how it's always kind of been, we write them, you know, we all do our parts, but unlike, and I've heard a lot of bands do this. And I thought I was, you know, not I, but we were the only ones kind of doing something a little offshoot. A lot of bands will rehearse like songs together and they'll just, you know, jam it over and over and over and over and then record it. A lot of times this for us, not a lot of times, but so far everything we've done, we've written it, recorded it, and then we come back and say, okay, now what songs do we want to play live? Let's rehearse those and beat them to death until we think they sound good.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it gets like, oh, wait a minute, this part's going to take a little work because the vocals are a little different than what I'm doing, you know, when I'm playing. But we work it out, and yeah, we've gotten a lot of compliments for our live performances. People always just at the CD release party, a girl ran over to the stage and started screaming at. She said, "You guys were like a train, like full on adrenaline, nonstop."
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, thanks." You know, there's always good compliments. Jason actually saw us at Blue Ridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll say this. We were talking about the difference in vocals. I think it's like you have to like pick and choose, like kind of when you want to do things. It's like if there's a prime example of it right now is Dream Widow. Of course, if people don't know, Dream Widow is the Foo Fighters. So Dream Widow did the movie Studio 666, and
Okay.
that was the band in the movie that Dave Grohl, you know, portrayed, and it's all death metal. So it's like hearing Dave Grohl do death metal is freaking amazing. But
Have you ever heard of Probot?
yes,
Have you ever
Yes.
heard of Probot?
Yes.
I listened to that album so much because I thought it was so amazing that every song sort of sounded like the singers that he was getting in to sing on them.
Mhm.
And that's one of the first times I've heard Jack Black, I think, before I even knew he was in Tenacious D, you know, on that album, you know, before I was aware of him. But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason Fisher, you're saying that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I was actually going to say I seen Dave at Foo Fighters at Sonic Temple, which is the shirt I'm wearing today. But actually seen them back in like 19. But they were on stage. Of course, Taylor Hawkins came down and did the vocals or whatever. And when he was trying to introduce that, some guy in the crowd kept growling at him, and Dave Grohl said, "Oh, you want me to do that shit?" And like he could do it. It's just like he's like, but we're a rock band, dude. Like we don't do that shit, you know. And he's like, you got to stick true to what you are about. Just like we talked, God forbid we're bringing up Nickelback, but we talked about Nickelback about how like the guitarist would love to do a heavy metal album, but that's not what Nickelback is. Nickelback's not a heavy metal band, so it's kind of hard to do things when you're not, you've made millions and millions of dollars off of playing a certain type of music. So why change that to take a risk and But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you got the money, you might as well just take the risk. But
because you never know.
Yeah, do something different, But I mean, it's just like like you said, back in Abolish, you sounded different. Well, that's to you to me, that would not be what Eyes of the Living is supposed to sound like, because it's two different bands. It's like, and I think people get lost in that, and they're like, oh well, just like if you take Chad Gray, oh well, hell yeah, I don't sound like Mudvayne. Well, they're not supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, Stone Sour Slipknot. Yeah, hell
right.
yeah, and Mudvayne. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Stone Sour Slipknot. Yeah.
Of course, the line. Of course, I think the lines got blurred there for a second on one of those albums. So what is the chances that maybe you guys just release some of the stuff you got recorded as singles instead of just put it on an album?
So this album was digitally released through Blood Blast Distribution. Blood Blast Distribution is a digital distribution company. All alone. They don't do hard copies, nothing like that, but they're directly connected with Nuclear Blast. So we were happy that they, we submitted to them and they were like, yeah, we'd love to have an album with you guys. The contracts, so we were only in, one album with them so far. But one of the things that was stipulated in their contracts, I think it was, you had to have 10 songs. So unless they start doing like single things like that, like we would like to stay with them because they're associated with Nuclear Blast and there's a lot of metal bands. And it's just nice to be that close to where we kind of want to get. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking that too. There's a lot of bands doing that now where they're releasing just single after single, like every couple of months or every other month or something like that, getting new material. That's always a possibility. But if we were to do that, and if it wasn't through Blood Blast, then it might be through some other avenue or maybe even independently. But we're not opposed to it. Yeah.
Well, I just noticed, like, I know, like, whenever Slipknot's last album came out, what was the song?
All Out Life.
All Out Life, yeah. All Out Life came out, and then it never made the album. So it was kind of like, oh, wow, like, this album's going to have to be good if that didn't make the album, didn't make the cut, but actually, I think they should have changed that out with a couple songs, but whatever. But
yeah, my son's of the generation that he's of the generation that literally looks for all those singles. One of these metalcore bands he's listened to, it's called Darko. They're actually pretty good. He listens to them so much that I actually like them. They're real heavy. They're almost like they're metalcore, but they're a little bit different. They're very rhythmic, even with the guitar and the drums. Everything's very rhythmic. And they're real heavy, but they do that. They literally do, for the past year and a half, it was, look for the new Darko single. And he was like, hey, Dad, they're putting out a new Darko's putting a new single. And it was like almost every other month. And then a year and a half later, they're like, okay, now we're going to release an album with all those songs. But we're going to add 2 brand new songs to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he he bought right into it and he was just like, awesome. And he's like, and they're putting out merch, and merch store sold out. And like, it was, I don't know if they build of course the singer in the band is from Chelsea's Grin. So, I mean, there was some, I think the drummer and the drummer is the guitar player. They're literally a project. They don't even play live. But I think, because of their names, they drew attention already immediately. But they did exactly that, single, 8 or 10 of them. And then full album with 2 more songs, making it 10 songs.
And you said the name of that band was Darko?
Darko, Darko. Yeah. Yeah, they're
I'm messaging you this, Chris, just so I can remember.
Yeah, they're I like them. They're heavy, but they're very rhythmic and percussive, and they have like the the new metalcore singing where the dudes kind of scream, but it's different. He goes guttural and then high and all that. But yeah, I don't know if I would be listening to that stuff as much as I do. I probably would still a little bit, but because my son's into it. Some stuff I'll say to him, man, that sounds too much like this or whatever. And and I'll say to him, like we were talking about Death Metal, the music's great, with the singing but the Darko stuff, I can get into it because of the way it sounds. and they make really bizarre videos. And that was another thing they do. Every single came out with the video, so it was like a double thing, and every single one had a video with it. And
Cool.
yeah, it's hard to tell the direction that whatchamacallit's going in, like where things are going right now in terms of like technology, because it seems like you know, what I like about the full album thing is it's a full album. We did do like 3 or 4 singles. They were like a month apart.
Yeah.
But the full album is, I think people that like to review and hear a full album enjoy that, you know, and that's what they look for. And when it's a single, you're just getting like not snippets, but you're getting, you know, where's the whole rest of the album going? But you also have that anticipation where they're going, oh man, can we didn't hear the next one because that song was, you know, fucking killer. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just like we were talking about last week. That Fozzy, they got a new release coming out in May. Well, Chris Jericho and him have released like 3 songs off that album, but it's been going on for like what 2 years now, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know.
So, I mean, they've definitely had a lot, you know, leading up to it. It has been a long, drawn out process. So, and I don't know if COVID had a lot to do with that. I'm sure it probably did, but
you know, one of the first bands that I heard talk about what, you know, this seems to be the normal we're talking about was Smashing Pumpkins years ago. They said that I forget how that Billy Corgan said it, but it was something like the full album impact isn't what it used to be. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to release, you know, a single for, you know, 10 months in a row to the full album's out. And I think they did it. And I think people just followed what they were doing. Because it's different. You know, people don't go to the store and buy the hard CD. You know, there are people like we were saying, we enjoy that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. People that do like it, but I think a lot of listeners today look for, is it up on Spotify? Is it up on Apple? You know, that's where I want to get it. Is it up on YouTube? You know, as opposed to, you know, getting the hard copy.
Yeah, there was somebody else kind of like piggybacking off of that. Of course, you know, Bill, I don't know when this was that Billy Corgan said it, but I wanted to say that maybe it was Rob Flynn, a Machine Head, who said something about kind of the same thing where, you know, because they've been putting out singles here and there. You know, they've had either singles or EPs, you know, because they came out with arrows and Words from the Sky last year. Coincidentally, that's going to be attached to their new album coming out in June or July, but they came out with they had a 2-track EP.
Civil Unrest.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Civil Unrest. Yeah. So, but I think it was Rob Flynn who kind of said the same thing. You know, that he said they're going to put out an album. Said, but we're in the short term, we're probably going to focus a little bit more on singles and EPs because of the attention span of people. You know, the people's attention spans are getting shorter. You know, because of the availability of all the media and everything. It's like, okay, you know, you gave us a song. When's the next one coming out? You know, so I mean, it's kind of like a "what have you done for me lately" kind of thing.
Right.
So,
but then you'll have bands kind of throw a single out there like, "Hey, remember me?" You know, it's like, you know,
kind of, keep us on the radar.
Right. Yeah, I think that's part of the you know, the tool or the what's the word I'm looking for? You know, what it does for a band too, right? It's kind of like you said, like, don't forget about me. Here's a new song, or we got a new song, you know, new album coming out, but here's a little, you know, here's a song or two from it to let you know we're still around. And COVID kind of messed up a lot of bands like that too.
It did.
Yeah.
I think Nonpoint is like one of my favorite bands, and I think like they kind of are on track with like how they do things. It's like pretty much ever since they began, they were like every other year with a new album. So I think if you get with that 2 and 3 year radius of putting out albums, I think you're still kind of safe in this day and time. But I think if you get any more than that, you know, like, you know, unless you're Metallica, you can't get away with going away for 8 years. I mean,
right,
you know?
Right. Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. And you guys did 17, 19, and 22. So like Tim, you said that you had wanted to get the new album out a little earlier. So yeah, you guys were doing 17, 19. So you guys were on that every other year path too. Now, is that something you guys like did intentionally? Cause I mean, like you say, you don't want to go, no one wants, I don't think anyone really intends to go 5, 8, 13 years or whatever, you know?
Right.
So was that kind of a timeline you guys want to stick to?
I think, like I was saying, I'm working on new music now, and I was actually letting some of the guys here, all the guys, not some, but the guys here some of the new music I'm working on, to get their opinions on how they think it sounds and does it work for us. But I think if we can, as long as the material is good enough, again, like I think you don't want to just throw out like junk or what we think is junk or like filler music.
Yeah.
So if we think it's good and we can complete it in time, I mean, I would love to look forward to like putting out something new at least every year, or maybe every year in a couple months. So, you know, a couple of things that we got to wrap back around to with this album is getting an actual video together for it. You know, we put out lyric videos, but
Right.
we want to do a couple real videos, you know, where our mugs are off on the screen.
Yeah, especially since Chris's beard doesn't match his picture on his fucking bio on the website. I didn't even recognize
that needs
him
to
at
be
first.
updated.
Like, yeah, I was like, holy shit, look at that thing he's got going on.
It was way longer than that. Like right before COVID, it was huge. Yeah, the ZZ Top thing going on, and then and mine was too. Mine was a lot longer. I cut it back. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Those pictures do need to be updated.
I say Chris looks like really intimidated back there. I'm just like I'd be at a concert and be like, you know what? I'm not going to rush the stage on this band.
Shit
out of his face, you know.
Yeah.
He spoke of pro wrestling and stuff when him and I've been best friends since we were like 14, and I was he's like we're both about the same height, 6'2", 6'3". He's much bigger than me. I'm 202 pounds or something like that now. When I was younger, I was a runt, you know, I was 140 pounds, and he would just throw me around, act like, you know, flat adult and act like we were wrestling and stuff. And he'd be like, let's go.
It's like this.
He's like, you were wrestling and didn't have a choice to wrestle. Is what you're saying.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's
We're
right.
gonna wrestle. He said, no, we're not. Yes, we are.
So yeah, Chris was the guy who did all the finishing moves. Tim, you were the one who ate them all.
I was just a practicing dummy.
You were like, Tim was like one of those Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior little stuffed little. You remember those?
Sometimes the stretchy ones.
Yeah, the little.
Trying to see how far my arms would go.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we were talking before you guys logged in, and I was asking Chris. I said, "Did you see their bio on their actual like website?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Tell me that Mike does not look like Daniel Bryan."
He does. Yeah, he does a little bit. Yeah.
I said, I got to look. I said, "Damn, that was like Daniel Bryan."
Yeah, he does.
So you can tell him, Chris, when you go back there and say, "Hey, they told me I could throw you around because you look like Daniel Bryan." So
Mike won't know the guy you're talking about, though.
He might not. Yeah,
he would. I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
we'll show him, and then we'll say, "Oh, he does."
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, we don't want to keep you too long. I know you guys.
Yeah, you can
get to practice.
You could probably hear the drummer and the guitar player talking up a storm in the other room, huh?
Yeah.
Oh no,
the drummer is ready to go. He wants to make noise.
Yeah. Well, you know, we could be assholes and say, if you wanted to talk so much, I mean, the camera's right here. I mean,
it's great talking to you guys. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Like I said, hopefully you guys can get around and start touring again. Get your way back down to Nashville. We'd love to see you guys down here.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And if anybody else here listening have not checked out Eyes of the Living, you can get their new album, Fear Comes Knocking, on, like I said, on your favorite downloaded site, or you can go to the eyesofTheLiving.com and pick up a hard copy like I did. Should be mine should be here any day now. So I was actually looking around a while back, and I said, dude, I can't find it. I was like on Amazon and on all these sites trying to find it. And
yeah, it's only on the website.
I said, I don't know why I never just thought to go to the fucking page and get it. But yeah, there's a lot of other cool stuff on there too, guys. If you guys want to go and check out their shirts, and
I'm gonna snag one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that zombie shirt's pretty cool. So
that's badass.
Yeah, we're gonna get a restock. They were talking about the shirts and stuff. Yeah, him and I always talk about what needs to get restocked, because a lot of people ask for certain things, or people have been asking for certain things. So yeah, absolutely.
So before you guys go, I know you can probably see Jason's hat. You guys want to do any NFC East shit talking to each other?
Wait, I can't even see what he's headed.
That's the
Dallas
champions.
Cowboys.
Oh,
He's a Cowboys.
Cowboys.
You guys want to do any NFC East shit talking?
I kind of got out of that, man. And it's funny when the Cowboys did the with the show they always do behind the scenes every week, and they're showing and I think it was DeMarcus Ware was still with the Cowboys, and you probably watched it, know this, and they said him and his wife wanted to have a baby, she had a miscarriage. They went to their church and they're like, well, this young girl is going to give her baby up for adoption. You just want it, and they said yes immediately. And they said, well, wait a minute, we didn't even tell you what race this baby was. They're like, we don't care, we're going to take it. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I fucking hate somebody just because he plays on a different team against my team? I was like, how can I fucking hate people like that? So ever since then, I still root for the Eagles. I don't like the Cowboys, but I don't hate anybody or talk shit. You know what I mean? Everyone has their own thing. So ever since I saw that, I was like, how could you not like somebody that was just immediately was going to take a baby, not caring race, color, anything? You know, that's just a good person, no matter who he plays for.
Yeah, I'm actually on the spectrum with a lot of Cowboys fans. I don't understand like their concept with a lot of their thinking, but you know, I'm not one of those fans, so I'm kind of like they're like, oh, well, your Cowboys suck this week. I'm like, dude, you want me to go out there and play for them? I'm like,
right, yeah,
I mean,
It's like every team has a sucky week most of the time somewhere.
I'm not on the field, so I can't control that. I just root for the team. So it's like,
Well, I'm a
and the worst team in the NFL that has the worst record. None of us could fucking hold their jock straps because they're so good. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It fucking worked out that way.
And I'm a Lions fan, so we've had a sucky century, so that's fine. You know, so the only Detroit sports thing I've got that I can even talk about is like the '97 Stanley Cup final. That's really the only thing I got going on. So
okay.
But yeah, we want to thank you guys both for coming on. We know you guys took some time out of your day to come on here, so we don't want to hold you up too long. We know you guys got some new music to make and some new music to rehearse. So we'll let you guys get on out of here and go do that. But yeah, man, it was great to have you guys on. It was a pleasure to meet you both. And yeah, if you guys end up anywhere within driving distance of here, of course we could drive to Philly. We know that, but but if you guys get to within a stone's throw here, you better believe we're gonna fucking be there.
Real quick, awesome. I didn't notice on your site that you didn't have anything lined up until like May. Is that still correct?
Yeah. So but we had a couple shows in March, and then we got 2 shows in May. One's in Philly, and one's in Delaware. And then we're pursuing more shows right now. Chris is always talking about we need to line up more shows, and he's right. So we're working on that for sure. But like I was saying earlier, we would like to get out west and south a little bit more. We do know that there's people down there digging us and talking about us, so we need to get out and spread our wings.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll definitely look forward to seeing you guys. If not in Nashville, hopefully close by. Like I said, I don't mind driving. I'm driving to Chattanooga out to see Death Angel here in a couple of weeks, so I don't mind taking a couple hour drive to see see a band. So. Like I said, congratulations on all the hype for Beer Comes Knocking. A lot of good reviews on that, especially
well deserved.
Yeah, like especially from like I wouldn't care anything about South America. Metal Injection loves it, so you must be doing something right. So,
thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Really do love the album, and hopefully it just keeps getting bigger and better for you guys. Anytime we can, we're going to sing your praises. Just
absolutely
trust me on that one. So
thanks a lot, man. We appreciate that.
You guys keep doing what you're doing too, man. All of it helps, man.
I appreciate it.
We will.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, you guys have a good one, man.
Yeah, you guys take care. All right.
Take care, Chris. Take care.
Right, have a good one.
You guys, thank you.
See you. All right. Later, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
God, that was fucking great. Good guy, man. Great guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't think we can stress this enough. Is like, it seems like every band that we've done so far has been really down to earth and really receptive of what we're doing. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, because I mean, these guys, of course, John O'Connor, these guys, while they're not, they're not a Metallica, Slipknot, Tool, whoever, they're still, they're still out there. They're making music. They're getting, paid to, to play it. And, this is, of course, for some of these guys, it's kind of like a second job, but still, they're out there living their dream. And these guys didn't have to accept our invite, So I mean,
Right.
it's like, we appreciate it, but we're busy. So, I mean, they didn't, none of these guys that have been on the show have had to do that, So the fact that, I mean, because like we said before, we're just a couple of guys, just hanging out, just shooting the shit about music, really. What do you got going on? We're just a couple of guys. Oh, got a little bit of an echo back there, but
well, I was trying to make sure it was showing up on YouTube. Yeah,
was it?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so
All right,
we're
cool.
good. Yep.
But so yeah, I mean, we're in the grand scheme of things, we're a couple of no-name dudes who just have a podcast of our own. So I mean, the fact that we've had three bands who have accepted the invite to come on and take some time out of their schedule to talk to us about their music is just it's fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if I speak for you on this one, Jason, you won't have a problem with it, but I'll never get tired of talking to these guys.
Oh, hell no! That's like I said. Like some of us have the gift of playing sports, and some of us have the gift of playing music, and some of us just have the gift of gab. So I'm
right.
I'm just glad I could talk about some things that I enjoy talking about. So
right.
It's better than being in Walmart and my wife, saying, "Hey, we've been in here an hour and we haven't got anything in the buggy. You've been talking to somebody for like a fucking hour." So
right. Yeah.
But
yeah,
not really Walmart, because I don't really go to Walmart, but it's usually like Lowe's or some other grocery store or something.
Right, I gotcha. I know what you meant. But yeah, man, couple of good dudes. Hopefully they are able to get out and kind of head this way a little more, because I really would like to check those guys out live.
Yeah, they're great. Like I said, they turned me on from a live performance. So, so
yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then
yeah.
Like
of course, I'd like to hear, and of course, I haven't heard either of the bands that we've had on here yet. Jason, you got to hear one of the last, and now you also got to hear Eyes of the Living. So I mean, I have yet to experience any of the bands in person, so I would like to have a chance to do that. So I mean, hell, they're both from the Northeast. They should go on tour together.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I wouldn't be opposed to listening to that, because I think they would complement each other pretty well, actually.
I would think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Like I don't know if you heard a lot of the accolades from that band, but they were they played the Full Terror Assault in Illinois in September of 2021, and then left that on the 9th of September, actually, and then left that festival to go to Blue Ridge on the 12th. So I mean, they were like that full week we're doing a festival tours. So
nice.
So that was a nice little week for them. And then, of course, like he said, they were a 2018 winner of the Wacken Metal Battle USA version, and they won the East Coast part of that. So
yeah,
and they performed at the Viper Room, like he was talking about. So I mean, there's a lot of accolades there. I think
yeah,
to play in the Viper Room is going to be something that if you've done before as a band, you're going to have that in your memories, because like you said, it's closing down. So I mean, but yeah, awesome interview, man. I enjoyed that very much. So now we just gotta. Who's next? Who wants some?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Who wants to be the next contestant on Metalheads Unite?
That's right. That's right. I've seen Crowley being Crowley in the comments.
Yeah. Yep. Crowley's back doing Crowley things.
Yeah. Somebody actually called him out on that. Crowley.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, was you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget you're logged into the VOP side of
Yeah, that's me. Oh man.
well, I guess we can get on track for our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a couple segments. Yeah. Well, obviously, we're not.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to
yeah,
go through the whole thing because of the time restraint. But
Yeah.
we talked to them a good while. So
Yeah.
so really good stuff. Really and informative there. So. All right. Well, I guess we'll do birthdays and then of course the news and then our
Mhm.
top 10 and then album reviews and next week we'll catch up on everything else.
History and hitting the road.
yeah.
Yep.
I will say before I get started, I think two things from history needs to be talked about. Of course, April was it 4th or 5th? I think it was 4th, right? That Lane Staley and Kurt Cobain actually passed away.
I want to say it was without
I think
looking. I think it was the 5th. The
Was it the
5th?
5th? I know it was one of the other, but look here real quick. It was the 5th. Yes, you're right. So I think that should be touched upon. If nothing else, we probably talk about it more in depth next week. But I feel like since we're in that week, we should at least touch on it. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, let me kick off the birthdays here from the 3rd through the 9th. We didn't really have any for the 9th, so it'd actually be the 3rd through the 8th. Actually, it's man. This may be one of the biggest weeks of birthdays from some of the biggest bands. I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah.
A lot of big name bands on this one. But all right, we'll kick this bad boy off. April the 3rd, we had Arjun Anthony Lucassen, singer, songwriter, and multi instrumentalist from Arion. We of course had Chris Oliva from guitarist from Sabotage, who unfortunately passed away in 1993. Sebastian Bach, singer for Skid Row from 87 to 96. April the 4th, we had Gary Moore, a guitarist for Thin Lizzy. He unfortunately passed away in 2011. We had Nigel Preston, drummer for The Cult. He unfortunately passed away in 92. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys are passed away, but we had Mike Starr, not Michael Starr from Steel Panther, but Mike Starr from Alice in Chains, the bassist. He passed away in 2011. Adam, I know I can never say Adam's last name, and I hate that. Dutkowitz. I think that's how you.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Guitarist for Killswitch Engage. He is still alive and kicking, by the way. So
Yeah, he is.
man, I always find it amazing. I don't know if he purposely buys smaller guitars because he's a big guy. I don't know if you've ever seen. He's like 6'4" or 5. He's got
I've never seen him in person.
He's
No,
a tall guy, and he's got this little guitar. It looks like a fucking ukulele. He's so big, but he plays the shit out of that thing, man. It's like. Crazy.
Does he play it up high?
He plays it up high, yeah.
Well, at 6'5", he probably doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, right. April the 5th, we have let's see, Peter Grant, band manager for the Yardbirds and Led Zeppelin. He unfortunately passed away in 95. Dave Holland, drummer for Judas Priest from 79 to 89. He unfortunately passed away in 2018. Like I said, a lot of these people have left us, but man.
Yeah.
April the 6th, we had Udo Dirkschneider, of course, vocalist for Accept and Udo, or Udo, however you want to pronounce it. But then we had Johnny D, drummer for Brittany Fox, Martin Mendez, bassist for Opeth. April the 7th, we had John Cooper, vocalist and bassist for Skillet. April the 8th, we had Izzy Stradlin, guitarist for Guns N' Roses. I'm sorry, getting a text real quick. No, Axel, we still don't know where Izzy is.
Was that Axel? Is that who that was?
Yeah, it was actually. April the 8th, Paul Gray, bassist for Slipknot. He unfortunately passed away in 2010. And then we had Alexi Laiho, guitarist and singer for Children of Bottom. Unfortunately passed away in 2021. So unfortunately, a lot of the birthday lists people are no longer
Yeah.
with us. But
Posthumous birthdays this week. Yeah.
yeah, man, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
didn't even notice that until I started reading them off. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
half these people aren't even with us anymore. But happy birthday to those anyway. Gone but not forgotten for sure.
Yep.
Of
And
course,
shout out to my mom. Her
yeah,
birthday was on Wednesday.
yep. Happy birthday, Mama Tarango.
Yeah.
Taranjo, however you want to pronounce Chris's last name. I think he's used to being it mispronounced. So at this point,
I don't even correct anybody anymore.
Oh man,
It doesn't bother me.
That's what happens when you move to the South, man. They don't know. They just make up shit.
It's not region.
Just
It's not region specific. No, it's been mispronounced my whole life, with the exception of literally the exception of about maybe half a dozen people have got it right the first time. But like I say, it doesn't bother me. It used to drive my sister nuts, but now she's since been married, so that's not her last name anymore.
Right. So
used to drive her insane.
Well,
so.
That's why she got married. She's just like, fuck this shit.
Probably part of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll move into or I guess I didn't even wish if anybody out there had a birthday. I apologize. Happy birthday to you guys. I guess we'll move into our news of the week segment because Chris has got a portfolio over here of news. So.
Yeah, I actually do. I was surprised at I was actually surprised. Obviously it ebbs and flows and everything else, but but unfortunately, like Jason said, we couldn't make it 2 weeks straight without having to report about somebody who had passed away. So started leading off over at the PRP.com. Adam Whitehead, co-founding bassist for defunct deathcore band King Conquer, has passed away. His brother and former King Conquer bandmate Chris Whitehead confirmed the sad news earlier today being April 5th. Speaking via social media, Chris stated, quote, "It's very odd to be writing this. From as far back as I can remember, you were why I did things I do in life. I played baseball because of you. I skateboarded because of you. I wanted to know how to fight because of you. I started playing music because of you. I played my first show because of you. I did my first tour because of you. My first ever tattoo was for you. The reason I'm so strong mentally is because you told me I had to be when we ran away from home. And the reason I'm okay with matters like this is because you taught me how to look for the best in things at such a young age. My next tattoo will be for you, and the next piece of music I write will be for you. I promise to remember the happy times and the hard times, brothers till the end," end quote. I love you, Adam Michael McGee Whitehead. I'll see you on the other side, dude. Tragedy has befallen the band's past lineup several times already, with both former guitarist Brody Wheeler and John Bird having passed away in 2016. So yeah, unfortunately, gone way too soon. I'm not exactly sure how old Adam was. I did see in another story over at the PRP that back in 2015 that he did have to leave a tour because of complications due to MS. I don't know if that's related to what happened because it doesn't say what the cause of death was here. So like I say, I don't want to speculate, but regardless of that, Adam has passed away. So condolences to them.
Yeah, to his family and close friends there. So
yeah, condolences to them. So
all right, well, my first story is over from Metal Injection. Dragon Force's 2006 single "Through the Fire and Flames" became one of those legendary songs in Guitar Hero 3: Legends of Rock. It was the song that you tried to play on expert mode with your friends to see how far you could get, and was easily one of the more popular songs in the game. Though, according to Dragon Force guitarist Herman Lee, the band only got paid around $3,000 for the use of the track, and that's before splitting the money between band members and management. So how many millions of dollars did I get? Well, I'll tell you this: Guitar Hero actually only paid a one-time or one-off fee to use the song. So it was less than $3,000, maybe even less. Lee said that even though Dragon Force didn't get paid much, the exposure was huge for the band. At that time, guitar music wasn't really that popular. Later adding, letting the audiences hear our music and decide if they like it or not was really special, because we definitely don't play music that fits the radio. you're not going to hear 7 minutes of shredding melodic metal on the radio. You would if we were running it.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would.
Lee's point about Guitar Hero presenting new music to a wider audience is definitely the key takeaway here, as those games had a pretty undeniably huge impact on the world at the time. So just so you know, people that were involved in songs on Guitar Hero probably weren't paid that much. So
yeah, it sounds like the songs that went on the Guitar Hero games were like the Spotify of the video game world.
yeah, you get pennies on the dollar here. So
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. That, and I don't know if you ever played Guitar Hero, but because I mean it was fun to play.
Hero.
It was fun to play, but yeah,
I still go to the arcades, and that's one of the first games I try to go to. So
yeah, but I mean that was a goddamn hard song. Of course, it is a hard song to play, but I mean, I've seen YouTubers who have played that song and have played it perfectly, and I'm just like, how the hell long did it take you to do that? It's
right.
It's bonkers.
Well, that's kind of like I wanted to bring up when he was talking about Tim was talking about drummers earlier, saying that they kind of make up a big portion of the sound and stuff for the band. And I was just like, well, I don't think Meshuggah would argue with that, but
no, yeah. All right, staying over at the PRP, metalcore outfit Sleepwalker have announced that they have collectively kicked out their vocalist Hunter Courtright. A statement issued by the band on April 3rd reads as follows, quote, "This is something we never wanted to or thought we would have to write, but because everything has become so misconstrued, we have to make a statement. And Sleepwalker has always been a team effort. We've all been close friends and have always supported each other in as many ways as we can, even past just being band members and as genuine friends. We hold no grudges against past members and appreciate everything they've done to help further the project. Unfortunately, in the case with Hunter, we've been paralyzed for years, and we've been afraid that's what's happening right now. What's happening right now would happen. The narrative seems to be narrowed down to we don't like screaming, but while not only untrue, it's the easiest to swallow explanation of the whole story. For several years, this project has been running into issues with our producer, major scheduling problems, and creative differences, almost entirely caused by one member. We have worked past issues that every band deals with, members flaking or not pulling weight, but every time we have worked past it and sorted ourselves out. In the case of Hunter, we have been extremely lenient in that regard, even coming to a point where Frankie and Hunter couldn't communicate without an argument or some heated discussion, and our manager had to be the mediating third party. We were extremely forgiving with a lot of things, no shows at practices, no communication, constant battles to finish albums and songs, demands to do things with no plan to do them himself. He rarely wrote lyrics, leaving Frankie to write a majority of all lyrics in the songs. He would never show up to scheduled recording sessions with no explanation or flat out lie, leading to our producer telling us we either had to kick him out, record him ourselves, or stop coming to him, which was fair after canceling 5 weeks worth of sessions consistently. This led Frankie to start recording and writing nearly all of the vocals Hunter did on the album Alias, so that things were actually done and prepared. The entire time, arguments, fights, and creative differences pushed the band apart, and our manager had to step in and stop us from kicking him out before Skin was released. Albums have been delayed, deadlines pushed back, and tempers have been pushing everyone to leave the band. After recording the new single Sleepwalker, planned to release over the summer, and Hunter arriving at the session with no lyrics and nearly no plan for vocals, we sat down and discussed this being the time to move on as a band. We have given Hunter way too many chances to step up, and it's caused immense stress to us as a band and as friends, but the only solution we could find was to move on. We can find receipts, we can back up all our claims from members of other bands that have seen this process, people that used to be in Sleepwalker, and people that have worked with us, but we hope we do not have to do this and we can move on, end quote. Addressing the split via his own social media, Courtright stated, quote, "I am no longer a part of Sleepwalker. Believe me, I did not want this. I committed myself to this band for 7 years, and what I was able to create with this group changed my life. I will always be thankful for what I was able to see and do, the people I met, the fans and friends who made every second of it so worth it. This band and making music has meant everything to me, but it appears this chapter of my life is concluding. To everyone who's been around for any amount of time and supported me and the guys, thank you. You've helped me live my lifelong dream. It was amazing while it lasted," end quote. So, like Jason, you said, we've been reporting on a lot of these stories about, bands splitting up or members leaving for this, that, and the other reason. A lot of times it seems amicable. This is basically the most detail
Right.
we've gotten as far as, the cause of anyone leaving or getting fired or whatever in a while. Usually we just get well, it was time to move on and we wish him well and all this other stuff. So it's
I find it funny how he put in his social media post that he gave his all to the band, but that's not how they see it, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
You sure about that? You sure? Are those the words you want to go with?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen there where Crowley posted that Herman Lee on his Twitch. He's streaming their tour and he has a camera on his guitar so you can watch his hands. That's pretty badass.
I did see that, and yeah, he's the music video for Through the Fire and Flames, and then there's another one, Fury of the Storm. I'm wanting to say it is during the because Herman Lee and Sam Totman they have these guitar solo battles in those two videos, and each part of either one of them solo, they have an inset isolation of their hands while they're playing the particular guitar solos in those two songs, and it's just mind blowing how fast their hands move. It's bonkers. It is.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, you may have a camera on it, but that don't mean you can keep up with it. So,
right.
All right, I'm sticking with Metal Injection on this next story. Drummer Andy Torres was playing his drums at Todd Longshore Park in Santa Clarita, California on Saturday morning. I guess this was last Saturday morning, when an axe-wielding maniac came up and destroyed his kit. According to NBC Los Angeles, nobody had complained about Torres' playing prior to the attack. He just came up swinging already, Torres said, whose drumming persona includes wearing a mask. He didn't announce himself or say get out of the way. He knew what he was going to do. I happened to just get out of the way in time. Torres added the attacker hit the kit several times before drawing a gun, which was not captured on film. Torres has since turned the video over to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and has filed a police report alongside the attacker's vehicle and license plate. That little drum kit means the world to me, said Torres, who added that he's fine and that the incident has not ruined his love for music. Here's hoping whoever attacked Torres is found because, man, it's pretty messed up. I agree. That is pretty messed up. Like, can't even be outside in, broad daylight and, stream anything anymore without somebody coming up being crazy. Of course, you're out in public like that. You got to be careful with the, like I said, people on drugs and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, that sucks. So,
hopefully, straighten out and gets a new drum kit.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah. All right. Staying at the PRP, Downpresser frontman Dan Weinraub, he suffered a serious head trauma in an accident, and a GoFundMe has been launched for him. Dan Weinraub, known as the vocalist for Southern California hardcore band Downpresser, is currently recovering from head trauma he suffered in an accident this past weekend. Of course, that so it would have been literally last weekend. It was in Las Vegas, Nevada. Crowdfunding is underway for his medical bills over at GoFundMe, while his significant other, Nikki, commented of the accident and the injuries he sustained. Quote, as some of you know, Dan and I came to Las Vegas on Friday for a wedding. Friday evening, while the two of us were getting something to eat, Dan fainted and hit his head very hard. I will spare the details, but I thought I could have lost him. He was put in a medically induced coma with some brain bleeds and skull fractures. Well, those are kind of details.
Right, yeah.
Yesterday, they were going to slowly take him off the ventilator to see how he was breathing on his own. Dan had other plans and ripped the tube out himself. In parentheses, she put, that's my guy. He is now breathing on his own, and the neurosurgeon has decided he won't need any surgery. The bleeds and fractures should be able to heal on their own, and as of this morning, they have not gotten any worse, which is great news. He is able to respond to commands, but isn't communicating much yet. He is in a lot of pain and not very happy to be in the hospital, obviously. This will be a long road, but I'm praying we can get back to California as soon as possible. Excuse me. He will be moved out of the ICU and into a regular hospital room today, which is a great next step. Both of our moms came out immediately and are here, which has been a saving grace. And she put a little arrow to the next line for some reason. I'm not sure. She said, this has been by far the absolute worst thing I've ever been through. Dan is without a doubt the love of my life, and all I need is to be with him. He is so incredibly strong, and I know he will be as good as new soon. Please keep him in your thoughts and send him all the strength you can. Everyone that has reached out already, I'm sorry if I haven't gotten back to you. This is obviously very overwhelming, but I will tell Dan everything everyone has said, and I truly appreciate it all. It helps. I'll keep everyone updated. A subsequent update shared on April 4th on his health reads, quote, we are still in the hospital in Las Vegas. We are in the ICU still, but he's not in need of ICU care necessarily. He is in a lot of pain, very uncomfortable, and very unhappy. He also took it upon himself to get up in the middle of the night, take everything off himself, find his clothing and boots, and put them on. He then asked for me and the car keys and tried to leave. Once again, that's my guy. The fact that he could do that is huge. He is very confused still, but so incredibly strong. I was finally able to have a conversation with him today. He told me how much he loves me and made some jokes. He doesn't know what happened or where we are and keeps asking to go home. I'm trying to hold it together for him, but man, is this the hardest thing I've ever done. I feel so helpless and so worried about the future. Again, I know how strong he is, and I know it's going to be okay. Again, thank you all for reaching out and sending your love. Please continue to keep him in your thoughts for a speedy recovery. I'm hoping we can go back to California in the next couple of days, but everything is still unknown. Let's just focus on his improvement. So, sounds like he's progressing like he needs to, but yeah, dude wants to go home. And of course, he's going to need some help with some medical bills. So if anyone out there, any fans of the band or anyone, just out there in general who can spare a little bit, I'm sure a little bit goes a long way to helping with hospital bills. So,
well, it's like I always says, like, people think, oh, well, like, you have to give hundreds of dollars. Well, no, I mean, if you got 5 million people giving $1, then I mean,
there you go.
It's that's paid for. So I mean,
yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully he can have a speedy recovery and get back to doing what he loves. So
yeah.
All right. This one is over from Blabbermouth. This one's kind of a lengthy one, so bear with me. I think we've all kind of can echo the sentiments of Chris Jericho in this one. But during an appearance on Monday, April 4th episode of SiriusXM's Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, Fozzy frontman and wrestling superstar Chris Jericho spoke about the popular notion that the producers of the Grammys hate rock, as evidenced by the fact that they continue to disrespect the heavy metal genre by not including it in the event's televised portion. Quote, it's the same way it's always been, man, Chris said, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net. Rock and roll has always been kind of the redheaded stepchild of the music world, and it's just the way it is. Unless there's a Guns N' Roses or a Metallica in 91 that gets a worldwide huge push, rock and roll is always kind of in the background. We know this. We've always known this, end quote. Asked by the host, Eddie Trunk, if there are any new young bands on the horizon that he thinks could bring rock back to the prominence that the genre had held in the 80s, Chris said, well, now you're going on into the business standpoint of things. Is there bands that could do it? Of course there is. If you look at the Struts, or if you look at like Greta Van Fleet, or you look at some of those types of bands, Dirty Honey, Hellstorm, or you mentioned Fozzy, a good time rock and roll band. Of course, he's going to throw his own name in the hat. but you have to have the industry behind you. And that's what I mean by Guns N' Roses or Metallica in 91. Those bands were always great, but it was the industry getting behind them, the decision makers getting behind them. And you know how that works. And until the next rock band is kind of deemed that, I don't think you're going to see rock in that forefront. I don't think it's worth getting angry about, because we know that the arenas are still full, rock and roll is still alive and well, and we shouldn't worry about what the Grammys think or what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thinks. Who gives a shit anyways? It's like Chuck D said, who cares if I won a freaking Grammy? I think that most of the bands feel that way. Back in 2018, Avenged Sevenfold famously skipped out on the attending. You just mentioned that earlier. Skipped out on attending the year's Grammys award, despite the fact they were nominated in the Best Rock Song category. At the time, Avenged singer M. Shadows said in a text message to Trump that always Although the move was not really a protest per se against the Grammy organizers, he and his bandmates were less than pleased about the fact that the best rock song was added to the categories that aren't televised during the performance heavily broadcasted. Fuck them, the singer said. M Shadows added to the rock genre gets no respect from the Grammy organizers. I mean, how marginalized has rock become when the rock song of the year can't even get 2 minutes? In a December 2017 interview with the WRIF station, M Shadow said that the whole point of being nominated for a Grammy is that you want to get noticed by people and seen on TV. It helps everybody when the bands can get bigger, he said. Another person who has publicly voiced his disdain for the Grammy Awards is Slipknot frontman Corey Taylor. In a 2016 interview, Corey said that he didn't have time for the Grammy Awards, explaining that the annual show was nothing but a popularity contest among aging music industry insiders, many of whom had a long history of ignoring hard rock and heavy metal. He said, "To me, the real reflection of where you're at is performing live, and that is all it is. Walking on that stage and seeing a massive audience lose their minds, that's what it's all about. You can take those statuettes all day long. I don't care. It's cool to win, but I'm not going to fucking die if we don't win a Grammy, you know." Although Slipknot has been nominated for 10 Grammy Awards, it has only won one, picking up the best metal performance in 2006 with the single Before I Forget. During a 2014 appearance on the Nerdist podcast, Taylor took issue with the Grammys and their voting process, saying old people vote on those awards. I'm convinced that's the reason we won. It's because an old person went Slipknot. I read a magazine article about them. They've been around. Here you are. Take it. The kids are going to be real happy because you look at it and you're like, fucking Judas Priest won for a live version of a song they released 40 years ago, and the live version was released 20 years before that, and they only re-released it because of a box set, and they gave it to him. I'm like, fucking what? But he went on to say it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's like trying to hit a fucking needle with another needle. If you have one metal category, you have one basic rock category, and you've got bands like Fun winning it. And I'm like, really? Show me on a doll where the Fun is a rock band. Oh man, you gotta love Corey.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you gotta hand it to him.
But yeah, I mean, the sentiment's pretty much been the same thing we've always said. Is like, you know, the Hall of Fame and the Grammys, all that's just basically bullshit because it's not, you know. We talked about, you know, Jethro Tull winning a Grammy over Metallica. Jethro Tull's not a fucking heavy metal band.
Mm-mm.
You know, they rock band. Yes, I'll give them that. They're a rock and roll band. They're not a heavy metal band, so they should not have won a heavy metal band. You know,
Shouldn't have even been nominated for that.
Right?
category.
Exactly. It's just like you got people that are doing these things that don't know jack shit about the genre of music.
Mhm.
So, you know, and I'll call you out personally right here on this fucking podcast because it's mine and I can do what I want to. But
That's right.
but I'll call you out real quick because it's not, you know, if you want to come on the show and explain yourself, hey, we're here. You know,
Mhm.
I'll be happy to talk to your ass about it. So,
Good luck trying to convince us you made the right call.
well, yeah, I mean, because you didn't.
No,
and
you
if you
didn't.
want somebody that's impartial to come on the show, hey, we're open. I mean, we'll still do our podcast, but we'll come and actually give you some metal knowledge.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, you got so many people out there that they could pull into this. Like, say Eddie Trunk. I mean, you got Joe Mangini. I mean, you got all these people out there that know. Ricky Rackman's still around.
Ricky
I mean,
Rackman's
you got
still
people
around.
that know heavy metal that could help you, and you do not pull those guys in to have any kind of idea what the fuck metal's even about. So,
Mhm.
you know, until then, fuck you, and fuck you. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, someday I'll tell you how I really feel about it.
Yeah. When we have more time. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I've got one more over at the PRP. This one's actually some good news, at least I think it is. It looks like the upcoming movie centered around fictional animated metal band Death Clock isn't the only thing in store for the world's greatest cultural force. Adult Swim greenlit an upcoming film to close out the Metalocalypse series last year with Brendan Small and Tommy Blancha at the helm. According to real-life Death Clock member Gene Hoglan of Dark Angel, X Testament, etc., the accompanying soundtrack to the film is taking shape more as an actual Death Clock album, and some touring may take place in support of it. A recent chat in Sobre la Dosis saw Hoglan state of the upcoming project, quote, one of the larger... Where did Jason go? Uh-oh. All right, well, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out for him. One of the larger projects that's coming up really directly as well as Death Clock is working on a movie, so that's going to entail some definite intent from me. You know, I'm deeply involved in that, so we're working on the next album, the soundtrack. Well, the movie doesn't quite have a soundtrack to it, but we're going to have the movie, we're going to have the album for Death Clock, and I would imagine some touring as well, end quote. Water Tower Music will be releasing the aforementioned quote-unquote soundtrack album. While there's no firm release date yet for the upcoming HBO Max premiere of the Metalocalypse film, well, that sucks. I don't fucking have HBO Max. The following plot synopsis was previously shared for it. Quote, the power-hungry tribunal unveils their secret and deadly Falconback project as the world grows in embattled chaos and the menacing Doomstar breaches the Earth's atmosphere, while the mysterious and twisted descent of a band member threatens the future of Death Clock. Picking up directly after the heroic rescue of Toki Wartooth, can Death Clock choose between their egos and the greater good of the world to embark on a gauntlet of dangers that will try their very souls and finally write the song that will be their salvation? Who knows? But regardless, I'm looking forward to that. I really don't know what took so long. I wanted them to either make more episodes of the cartoon on Adult Swim or something, because the way they left it after, you know, the whole rock opera thing, they definitely shouldn't have let this shit linger this long. So all you fans of Metalocalypse like me, I'll check out that movie somehow, some way, because I'll be damned if I'm not going to find out how that story ends. All right. While we're waiting for Jason to get back, I'm going to move over to metalinjection.net. Got some more band departure news. Crypta has parted ways with guitarist Sonia Anubis. Crypta said the split was amicable and that her departure will not affect any live plans. Anubis was one of the 4 original members of Crypta upon their founding in 2019 and will refocus her efforts on her band Cobra Spell. Quote, with heavy hearts, we announced that Sonia is parting ways with Crypta. It was her decision, and we understand and respect it, so both sides will now... There you are. Where'd you end up having to run off to?
Yeah, nature called. So.
Oh, all right. So you had to go do your duty?
Yeah. Well, not that duty, but, you know.
Okay. All right. I'll just leave that there. While you were gone, I read the story about the new Metalocalypse movie, and
I heard you starting to talk about that.
All right, now I'm over at metalinjection.net. I went ahead and started another one talking about Crypta parting ways with their guitarist. Mm-hmm. With heavy hearts, I'll completely start back over. With heavy hearts, we announced that Sonia is parting ways with Crypta. It was her decision, and we understand and respect it, so both sides will now follow new and different paths. We all feel sad to see her go, but at the same time, we feel very thankful for all the amazing and beautiful things we built together so far. Sonia had a unique importance from the beginning of the band until now, and her essence and contribution to the band will always be a special part of Crypta. Our split was friendly and respectful. We will keep in touch, and we definitely wish nothing but the best of luck for her band Cobra Spell, and for all her future ventures. We still have some video material recorded with Sonia, and they will soon be released as a memory of the legacy we built together. We ask all of you kind fans to respect this sensitive moment for all of us and show some love only on the comments. Thank you, Sonia. Our future activities and plans from Crypta will not be affected, and all the shows and appointments schedule will still run as announced. More info soon. Anubis also issued her own statement, quote, with a very heavy heart, I want to announce my departure from Crypta to fully commit to my band Cobra Spell. This is a very hard decision to make, and of course it was deliberated carefully. From the very beginning of the band's existence, I have fully committed myself to Crypta and gave my 100% true self. Being part of defining the concept and the sound of Crypta is something that is very special and dear to me. Back then, when we started making music together, I needed this sort of creative outlet. I experienced Crypta as a safe place to write my feelings away in the form of riffs and leads, like a process of catharsis. I am thankful and proud to have contributed to the history of this band and being respected for my personality and style. Through the course of time, my priorities and musical dreams have been evolving and growing apart from the band's goals. Changes are a part of life, and as human beings, it's important to evolve. Sometimes this means we need to end the cycle. I have started to listen more to myself and what I want to do with my life as an act of self-care. Therefore, I make the choice to part ways and invest my energy on my current priority, which is my band Cobra Spell. I will solely commit myself 100% to my own band and my solo endeavors. I know this will affect my biggest supporters out there, and I'm very sorry if this somehow disappoints you, though please know that music is and always will be my biggest passion. Making this choice will allow me to reach my dreams as I envision them. Music and guitar is my life, love, and I will never stop playing and sharing my journey with you all. Something to look up to, the new Cobra Spell EP, Anthems of the Night, has just been released. Check it out, along to another music video to be published on April 7th, which, 2 days ago, obviously, in which you will see me in shred action. Ready for some new music? A big thanks to Crypta and everyone who was involved to be growing the band while I was there and for being there when I mostly needed it, end quote. So I might check out that EP now that I know it's out. I may check that out, see what it sounds like. And obviously there's a music video to go along with it. So probably look that up too. So yeah.
That seems like it was more of a mutual thing than than what was the other band?
Sleepwalker.
Sleepwalkers, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
definitely a smoother kind of parting of the ways there. Yeah. So.
All right. We'll stay over with Blabbermouth here. Julian's Auctions, the world record-breaking auction house to the stars, will offer FU rock and roll portraits by Neil. Oh God, I don't know if I can say this. Zlozower, or maybe it's Lozower. I don't know. It's Zlozower. I don't know. Maybe the Z silent. I don't have no idea. But
wow.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's one of the more difficult ones I've had to read. But
that's a lot of. Yeah, it's not just one Z in the name; it's more than one. That's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty wild. Anyway, their premier NFT collection and signed prints, an auction event taking place online Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Pacific time at juliansauctions.com. 45 lots featuring one of one NFTs accompanying signed the original prints of rock and roll legends from rock photography icon Neil Zlozower. There we go. AKA Zloz, will be offered to the public for the first time. The subject of the award-winning documentary, In Your Face, the Neil... They just want to keep making me say this damn name. Zlozower story.
The Neil Z story.
Yeah, there we go. California native photography legend and cult figure Neil Z has captured the icons of rock and roll for over 40 years with his electrifying film images defining the very way people think of rock stars. Splashed on the covers and pages of magazines from Rolling Stone, Guitar Player, Metal Hammer, Guitar World, Drum to Playgirl, Zloz has photographed the Mount Rushmore of rock giants: Led Zeppelin, Dave Bowie, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, Kiss, and many more. Revered as one of the band by the numerous rock stars he has captured, these portraits of his subjects, such as Slash and Eddie Van Halen, each show them flipping the bird in their own unique and colorful way to Zloz. Not only has his ardent lens immortalized their wild and larger-than-life personas and the era during which they were taken, but Zloz's photos also give some insight into his intimate friendships with the rock music's behemoth. Each lot will include a digital version of the photograph as an exclusive one-of-one NFT minted on the Ethereum blockchain. The item is brought to life in an even more personal way through Zloz's exclusive audio narration, which is minted as part of this NFT. An NFT is a unique and non-interchangeable unit of data stored on the blockchain. NFT highlights with the signed and original photo include estimates ranging from $800 to $2,000. An original photo of Ozzy Osbourne with guitarist Zakk Wylde at a Los Angeles studio in 2001, hand signed in black marker by Zlaz. An original photo of John Bon Jovi taken during a backstage photo session with the band in St. Louis in '87, also hand signed in black marker by Zlaz. An original photo of the band Motorhead with the lead singer Lemmy Kilmister taken backstage at the Santa Monica Civics Auditorium in 1988. I can't imagine Lemmy Kilmister shooting a bird. I mean,
Right.
an original photo of Judas Priest lead singer Rob Halford taken during a live performance in 1988. An original photo of Kiss drummer Eric Singer shot at a photo session by Zlaz's Hollywood studio in 2008. An original photo of Aerosmith frontman Steven Tyler in front of 16,000 fans during a live concert performance at the Long Beach Arena in 1988. An original photo of Van Halen lead guitarist Eddie Van Halen captured during a photo session at David Lee Roth's house in Pasadena in 1978, as well as an original photo of Van Halen with Eddie Van Halen flipping the bird backstage at a photo session before a live concert performance in 1981. So there's two Van Halen shots there. An original photo of Def Leppard lead singer Joe Elliott at a photo session for Classic Rock magazine at Zlaz's photography studio in Hollywood in 2008. That one might actually, I'd like to see that because I can't imagine Joe Elliott flipping a bird. I don't know why. Just kind of, I mean, I guess anybody can flip one, but it's just like his persona doesn't seem like he would be the type of guy to be like, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
But an original photo of Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee during a photo session at Zlaz's Hollywood studio in '84, hand signed in black marker by Zlaz, as well as an original photo of Tommy Lee with Rat guitarist Robin Crosby and Warren DeMartini backstage before a Rat concert performance at the Long Beach Arena on New Year's Eve in '84 to '85. An original photo of Velvet Revolver lead guitarist Slash at Mates Rehearsal Studio in Hollywood in 2007. An original photo of Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith in front of Zlaz's Hollywood studio in 2008. An original photo of Jane's Addiction guitarist Dave Navarro during a photo session for Marshall Amps at Zlaz's Hollywood studio in 2008. An original photo of the Runaways guitarist Joan Jett during a photo session for Around Hollywood at Grauman's Chinese Theater in '77. An original photo of Green Day guitarist Billy Joe Armstrong taken during a live performance at Hollywood Palladium in 1994. Julian's Auctions now accepts payments with cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, DAI, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin, or Dogecoin. It's Dogecoin, right?
I think it's supposed to be Doge.
Yeah, and USD coin. I think it throws you off because I think it's like a dog. It's like their mascot, I guess. Registration is required to bid in this online auction and can be done in person at the exhibit or online before the sale at juliansauctions.com registration page to bid by phone, proxy, or in person, or online at julianslive.com to bid live online. Or you can call area code 310-836-1818 for inquiries. Please email info@juliansauctions.com or call the number 310-836-1818. There are 3 ways to bid in the site. Bid through Julian's Auctions online live in real time at julianslive.com. Bid over the telephone through an auction house representative. Enter absentee bids. Absentee bid forms are included in the back of each catalog and are available by calling Julian's Auctions or online at www.juliansauctions.com. So pretty much go to the website if you want to do anything. So
bottom line,
which is pretty much, kind of normal. But a lot of good, interesting photos. Sounds like so.
Yeah. All right, I'm moving over to blabbermouth.net also, and we have another band departure. Hypocrisy has announced the departure of longtime drummer Reidar Horghagen. The Swedish metalers shared the news of the Norwegian musician's exit in a social media post earlier today, that date being April 5th, so Tuesday. They wrote, quote, "Hey there." Oh, that's cheerful. There's a thing you must know, right to the point. Horg is no longer part of Hypocrisy. We hope you respect and accept this decision. It's not easy for us. We've played together for 18 crazy years filled with music, tours, and friendship. So many countries, so many songs, and so many gigs with Horg on stage with us. It's the end of a long, interesting chapter and the beginning of a new one. We are grateful to Horg, this great musician and great man, for all we have achieved together. Also, would like to pass the message for him. I want to take this opportunity to thank the fans for the great support over the years, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to meet so many of you as we toured around the world. Thanks to the band and crew for the time we spent together. I wish you all the best for the future, end quote. Quote in a quote. That was a quote from Horg being quoted by the rest of the band. So, it's quoteception. A member of the Norwegian black metal band Immortal since 1996, Horg joined Hypocrisy in January 2004 as the replacement for Lars Schoch. I think that's how you say it. Hypocrisy will embark on the Worship Tour this spring. The 28-date trek will kick off at Warsaw in Brooklyn, New York on April 29th, and will make stops in Toronto, Los Angeles, and Austin before concluding in Baltimore at the Maryland Death Fest on May 29th. Support on the trek will come from Karach Angren, I'm hoping I said that right, the Agonist, and Hideous Divinity. Hypocrisy's latest album, Worship, was released last November via Nuclear Blast Records. The 11-track effort was recorded and mixed at frontman Peter Taktgren's Abyss Studio AB in Sweden, while mastering was completed by Svante Forsback at Chartmakers Audio Mastering. Designed by artist Blake Armstrong, Cataclysm in Flames and Carnifex fame, Worship's artwork speaks to the history of the relationship between humanity and extraterrestrials. So there you go. So yes, another band, another amicable exit, it seems. So, I mean, at least they're amicable for the most part.
I was about to say, I thought they had just had an album out here.
Yeah.
Recently, so
Yeah, they did.
All right, I got one more on my end from Metal Hammer here. I know Chris probably got a few more going, but
I have three.
Yeah, three more. So I got this one here, my last one. You might not think iPhone emojis are important, but over the last few years, they've become a vital part of the modern landscape. Perfect for cryptic text or embellishing funny messages. Now there's even a emoji that's perfect for metalheads, serving as one of the 37 new emojis to be added to iPhone users' keyboard. The new additions will become available as soon as devices are updated to iOS 15.4. Once updated, metalers can finally describe their favorite gnarly riffs with added clarity by using the new face melting emoji. Now, when listening to a band with a pummeling drop-tuned riff or lethal guttural screams, instead of dishing out the usual commentary such as "it slaps," "that's gnarly," or "that's hard as fuck," you can simply post a face that has been melted to the floor, because it isn't that how metal makes you feel anyway. On top of the face melter, there are also new emojis formed of beans, a disco ball, a saluting smiley, a jar, a troll, a corral, a crutch, bubbles, and an ID card, and more. All we need to know is all we need is a mosh pit emoji, and maybe one for Slash, so he doesn't need to constantly type out But whenever he posts on social media, David Bowie was given his own range 5 years ago, so maybe it's time for more of a rock and roll based variety. So coming soon, the face melting emoji. I'm sure that will be overused, but hopefully anyway.
Not to be confused with Steel Panther's pussy melter. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I don't know if they'll ever put that as an emoji, but
probably not. All right, sticking with Blabbermouth. Sepultura drummer Eloy Casagrande will miss the remainder of the band's North American tour after breaking his right leg in a stage accident. Earlier today, that being April 4th, the 31-year-old Brazilian musician took to his Instagram to share X-ray photos of his fractured tibia and fibula bones, and he included the following message: "Oh, no, I'm kidding. It is with deep sadness that I announce that I have unfortunately broken my right leg. Yesterday at the El Paso show, during the break between songs, I ended up falling off the stage and fracturing my tibia and fibula. I'm going back to Brazil to start the recovery. I'll see you soon. The tour will continue, but without me. More news coming soon. I ask for your support." End quote. Ow, he broke both of those? Jesus, how far did he fall?
I know, right?
Sepultura's North American Quadra 2022 tour with Sacred Reich and Crowbar kicked off on March 4th in Sacramento and is set to conclude on April 8th in Berkeley, California. Sepultura also has a 6-date tour of Mexico scheduled for April 12th through the 17th. This is not the first health issue that has plagued the North American Quadra 2022 tour. Last month, Sacred Reich was forced to cancel more than half a dozen shows on the trek due to frontman Phil Ryan's ongoing respiratory illness. Last summer, guitarist Andreas Kisser spoke to France's Loud TV about how Casagrande's addition has affected Sepultura's sound. Quote, "We're very lucky to have such great musicians here in Brazil, especially in drumming," he said. "We have great drummers and percussionists. You see Carlos Santana and all those great names, Paul Simon and stuff, always using some Brazilian here and there regarding the drum world. And Eloy started playing drums very early. He was made for Sepultura, man. I mean, he played in some other bands and stuff, but here with Sepultura, he's really exploding. He's really free to express himself the way he wants to, and Sepultura's music really provides that. And in exchange, he gave me especially to write many new possibilities. I think Machine Messiah and Quadra are the consequence of that interaction we have, which is great. It's so inspiring. It's fantastic. We are kind of always writing," he continued. "Sometimes he sends me some drum loops and I send him some riffs and stuff, and it's really cool that we build stuff from there. And he's a very professional guy, the best drummer in the world, at least for Sepultura. He's the best," he says, laughing. End quote. In February of 2020, Sepultura singer Derek Green told Australia's Everblack Media that Casagrande has had, quote, "a tremendous impact on the group since he joined in 2011. It's undeniable because he's such a strong force," he said. "He loves playing metal music. He's one of the most talented drummers I've ever seen, honestly. That power is consistent from beginning to end. It really has rubbed off on all of us to really push ourselves further. He's such a perfect match for the band. He really is always influencing us in so many ways to really go beyond, above and beyond," end quote. In 2019, Eloy told Drum Talk that he didn't care about the long simmering feud between founding Sepultura members Max and Igor Cavalera and his current bandmates. Quote, "I respect all the history," he said. "I have total respect for the past drummers, Igor and Jean Dolabella. They are amazing guys, incredible guys, but we just live in the present. I really don't care what happened, what didn't happen. I respect all the music. I respect their music nowadays. It's just that we have to follow our own path, and that's it," end quote. Casagrande joined Sepultura 10 years ago as the replacement for Dolabella. Sepultura's latest album, Quadra, was released in February of 2020 via Nuclear Blast. The LP was created at Sweden's Fascination Street Studios with renowned producer Jens Bogren. So, long story short, ouch.
Right. Yeah, man, to break both of those bones, like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. All right, so I've got two more stories, both at Blabbermouth. They both directly relate to Metallica.
Well,
Metallica's All Within My Hands Foundation asks that you join them in supporting World Central Kitchen's work aiding in the humanitarian crisis in Eastern Europe. The foundation kicks off its annual month of giving early this year with a $500,000 donation to World Central Kitchen on top of a recent $100,000 grant, with the goal of bringing that number to a total of $1 million over the next 2 months. For those who wish to join in these efforts, today through May 31st, the Metallica.com store will feature exclusive merchandise benefiting World Central Kitchen. Metallica family artist Andrew Kremines has created a one-of-a-kind shirt for this campaign, now available for pre-order. Keep watching the store for other exclusives and additional merchandise, with all proceeds going to this campaign. The local chapter fundraising competition will start on May 2nd and run for 1 month. Additional All Within My Hands auctions and raffles will feature items including the guitars James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett will be playing during their performance of the national anthem at Metallica Night with the San Francisco Giants on May 24th. Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich said, quote, the work The work that Chef Jose Andres and the dedicated World Central Kitchen cooks do on the front lines in a humanitarian crisis is nothing short of incredible. We are inspired, humbled, and beyond proud to support their teams currently in 6 European countries, serving the millions of Ukrainians who have been forced to leave their homes. WCK represents everything that Metallica and our All Within My Hands Foundation stand for by providing meals with dignity and hope worldwide, end quote. Added Nate Mook, CEO of World Central Kitchen, quote, World Central Kitchen is grateful for Metallica and All Within My Hands Foundation support and belief in our mission. They share our belief that a plate of food is more than just nourishment. It's hope and a sign that someone cares. Their support will allow us to continue to provide fresh and comforting meals to Ukrainians fleeing their homes as well as those staying in the country, end quote. To simply contribute, please visit the All Within My Hands donation page and choose the World Central Kitchen Ukraine Relief Fund from the drop-down menu. 100% of funds raised will go directly to World Central Kitchen. All Within My Hands does not use any portion of donations to cover expenses. World Central Kitchen believes that food is a universal human right. Their hashtag Chefs for Ukraine campaign is doing incredible work to fulfill this mission. Since February 24th, over 5 million meals have been served to refugees across 6 countries at a rate of 250,000 meals being distributed daily. As All Within My Hands extends its annual month of giving into 2 months, the foundation will continue to keep all posted on its progress, new ways to help, and provide information about the work that World Central Kitchen, I should say, is doing with their boots on the ground. All Within My Hands truly appreciates all support in its efforts to give back. When the Metallica family comes together for a cause, the positive impacts on individual lives are extraordinary. So this is far from the first time that we've talked about Metallica's All Within My Hands Foundation. They've, donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to numerous charities all over the world. And they just keep cranking it out, man. They're giving back whenever they can. So if you guys want to help out, go check out the page at their website, and help Metallica help other people get something to eat.
Yeah.
And in keeping with Metallica, like I said, a Cliff Burton museum will launch next month in the municipality of Ljungby, Sweden. The Metallica bassist's life was tragically cut short in a tour bus crash on September 27, 1986, 12 miles north of Ljungby. He was just 24. In September of 2006, a memorial stone dedicated to Burton at the Gilleen Raston Restaurant Bar in Dorarp outside Ljungby was unveiled. It was 20 years earlier that Cliff died just over the road from where Gilleen Raston is located. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. It's someplace in Sweden I've never heard of. So, so all you Swedish people, forgive me there. According to
get back on show.
Yeah. Don't be upset with us, guys from Defaced. According to Guitar World, the museum will include pictures, albums, posters, and tickets, along with interviews and photos from the first photographer at the crash site, Lennart Wenberg of the Swedish newspaper Expressen. There will also be a film of recollections from the first responders at the crash scene, as well as a stage that recreates Metallica's last performance with Burton in Stockholm, with copies of the bass and drum kit he and drummer Lars Ulrich used, plus a poster with Burton's last autograph. The organizers tell Guitar World, quote, "We primarily want to honor Cliff Burton, who died so tragically in the middle of his career, and talk about who he was as a person and a musician. Our second main purpose is to create a meeting place for all those who seek the memorial site in the small community of Dorarp. We want to continue the fine work that the fans started when they started raising funds to make Cliff's memorial stone," end quote. Ljungby historian Christer Ljungberg, who is involved in opening the museum, told SVT in 2021 that he had received messages of support from Metallica fans from around the world. Among them was a video from fans in Mexico who asked how they could help build the museum. Quote, "I'm not a huge fan of Metallica, but I usually say that I'm the biggest fan of Metallica fans," Ljungberg said. "I really love these people. They are absolutely amazing," end quote. A newly started association, Bergba Bygdens Culture and Tourism, has awarded SEK 300,000, approximately Swedish kroner, 300,000 Swedish kroner, which is approximately $32,000, from the Swedish National Heritage Board, a government agency responsible for World Heritage sites and other national heritage monuments and historical environments, to help start the museum. The museum's launch event will take place on Saturday, May 14th. Cliff was asked to join Metallica in 1982 after the band saw him perform with his group at the time, Trauma. The bassist was not willing to move to Los Angeles, where Metallica was based, so they decided to move to San Francisco that he would join. Burton played on Metallica's first 3 studio albums, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets, and co-wrote classic songs like Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, and Master of Puppets. So yeah, definitely something I would say that would be long overdue. I know there's been many, of tributes and memorials and stuff like that, but having an actual museum dedicated to him, I think, is something that's very cool.
I agree.
I like it.
All right. So that was the news for this week. I guess we can get into our crazy ass top 10 for the week.
Yeah, this one was a fun one.
Yeah. So we're doing top 10 metal songs inappropriate for funerals. So so we kind of led off from the one of the stories from last week with them talking about a lot of rock songs that were played, some crazy rock songs that were played at funerals. So
yeah, that were genuinely requested to be played at people's
funerals.
Yeah.
So these are not of nonfiction works. I will say that. So,
right. Yeah.
These have not been, as far as we know, have never been in a funeral.
Yeah. But none would surprise me, to be completely honest with you. But
probably not.
But yeah, as far as we know, none have been played. Damn, we're already at 2 hours and 45 minutes.
We are, yeah. So,
all right. Well, 2 hours and 45 minutes. We're not on radio.co anymore. So,
well, that's kind of what I was looking at, and I was like, well. So
for everybody else who. Yeah, so everybody else who's hanging around on StreamYard,
so we were kind of doing that because of Bob's show at 1, which he's not doing anymore. So maybe we can extend that back out a little bit. So
yeah, we should probably.
I'll get with Dan and him about that.
Yeah, we should probably bump it back up to just an even 3 hours.
Yeah, just to be safe. If we don't use it, we don't use it. But
right. Well, we get closer to 3 hours than we do 2 anymore.
Well, that's true. Anyway, so top 10 metal songs inappropriate for funerals. I'll kick this off.
Yeah.
I do have 2 standbys just in case.
Okay.
I don't foresee us overlapping, but who
never
knows?
know.
All right, my first one was, I don't know, kind of obvious. I guess I probably if we have any overlaps, it would probably be this one. But I had Megadeth, "Wake Up Dead" from Peace Sells, but Who's Buying of 1986. I don't know if that would be appropriate for a funeral, but
well, these are supposed to be inappropriate and funny, so
yeah. So,
and I also didn't have that one, so
oh my god. Well, Joey just side texted me. He couldn't put this in the chat, so we'll get through ours and then I'll tell you what he said. But
okay.
My second one was Gemini Syndrome, "Die With Me." That was from their album Third Degree, The Raising, in 2021.
Gemini Syndrome. Okay.
Couldn't you imagine that song playing "Die With Me" and you're in the middle of, and you're out there in the audience going, "Wait, what the fuck?"
I know.
This one was probably my favorite one to put on here, but it's Ice Nine Kills, "The Coffin Is Moving."
Oh Jesus!
That was from the Predator Becomes the Prey, 2014.
Ice Nine Kills. Okay.
My next one was "Motionless in White," "Reincarnate." That's from the self-titled. That's from the same title album, Reincarnate, 2014.
Nice.
My next one was Mudvayne, Happy. From Lost and Found, 2005.
Okay.
My next one was Rob Zombie, Living Dead Girl. From Hellbilly Deluxe, 1998. It should be accompanied by some Resident Evil tracks there or something.
Yeah, it should.
My next one was Pantera, Suicide Note Part 1. From the Great Southern Trendkill, 96.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Next one was Testament, Rise Up. From Dark Roots of Earth in 2012.
Okay.
And my next one was Korn, Rotting in Vain.
Oh, God.
From the Serenity of Suffering, 2016.
Okay.
And then my last one was Machine Head, This Is the End. From To the Locust, 2011.
That's just a really good song. And that officially makes it a non-overlapping list.
Oh, cool. Well, we decide you want to stick them on there anyway.
Yeah. What do you got?
Warbringer, Black Hand Reaches Out.
Oh, that's a great song. I mean, it's funny, but yeah.
And then I had Spirit of Drift, Screaming from Beyond.
Nice.
It was from Enlightened in Eternity, 2020.
And those two songs, we still don't have any overlaps. All right, so
I always throw a couple on there just in case. So
that's a good idea. All right. So here's my 10. The first one I went with Undertaker by Accept, Too Mean to Die from 2021. Then I went with When Death Comes Knocking by Primal Fear off Delivering the Black from 2014. Then I went with Dance of the Dead by Corrosion of Conformity off of Blind from 1991. Then I had Swinging the Dead by Devil Driver off their self-titled album for 2003. Then I had Are You Dead Yet by Children of Bodom off of the album of the same name from 2005. Then I had Bodies by Drowning Pool from Sinner from 2001. Then I had I Play Dead by Demon Hunter from Summer of Darkness, 2004. Then I had Burn in Hell from Judas Priest off of Jugulator from 1997. Then I had Addicted to the Smell of Death by Onslaught from Generation Antichrist from 2020. And last but not least, I had From the Cradle to the Grave by Havoc from Point of No Return from 2012.
Not Hatchet.
And then the one like extra I had, if we would have needed it, was Dem Bones by Alice Cooper. Not Alice Cooper. It was Dem Bones by Alice in Chains.
Yeah, Dem Bones are me.
Mm-hmm.
Joey put his top song was Open Coffin Orgy by 6 Feet Under.
What was it? Open Coffin Orgy?
Yeah.
That one's going on there. That's going on there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, they wouldn't let him stick it in the chat because of orgy, I guess. But
Open Coffin. That was, you said it was Cradle of Filth, right?
No, it was
Who'd you
6
say?
feet. 6 feet
6
under.
feet under. I don't know why I thought you said. Yep, that one's going on there. I'll put that one on there for you, Crowley. Hell yeah, man.
I like it. Getting a little bit of interaction.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, if anybody ever wants, damn your mods. Yeah. If anyone ever wants us to add something that even if you don't do a full 10, you got something that you think might fit with the theme, just rattle them off of there. We'll throw it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a great playlist, man. That's 24 songs right there.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, and then now over to album reviews. I did not review the one that I told you I was going to, and tell you the reason why. I
Because
was
it
going to
sucked.
do. Well, no, it wasn't that. It was the Robin McCauley project thing. So it was kind of a super group type.
Oh, okay.
And I
All
was
right,
like,
I got you.
I don't. Yeah, that's kind of felt. I mean, it was good.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, it wasn't. I was like, man, this sounds so like 80s and 90s, and then I got to looking. I said, well, hell, no wonder it's Robin McCauley. So
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
a good album. It was a good album though.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to listen to the new Destruction yet. So,
Oh my god, dude, you have to.
I will. I just haven't
That
had
is
time.
so I'll go out and tell you right now that's a 4.5 easy on my opinion. So
I wouldn't doubt it.
it's definitely in the top marks for album of the year right now. So
Sweet.
of course your buddy may not agree with that because being the Exodus fan, but
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. Well, hey, actually, Andy posted about it on.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So he may be right there on the same page with you, and I'm sure I'll get there too once I have a chance. To
I
listen to it.
commented. I said it'll melt your face off, and he said it already has twice. So
There you go.
It's pretty fucking good. Like it starts out in your face and it stays in your face. So
Doesn't let go, which is good.
it don't let go. It grabs hooked up you. All right, so I actually wound up going with Insight, Wake Up Dead.
Did you really?
Yeah. So
Did you seriously?
no. I'm just,
I hope not, because that's the one I did.
is that the one you said you were doing?
Did I? Oh no, it wasn't. But
Yeah, you said you were doing Dynasty. So
yeah, I don't. But I had to change mine because I think they may have pushed their album release back because
Oh,
I couldn't
shit.
find it anywhere.
Yeah. So I did listen to Insight. So I guess you can do the review.
Well, I mean, if we both listen to the album, then we'll both talk about it. Then
Yeah.
that's fine. Wouldn't be the first time. All right. Well, Insight, they're a thrash groove metal band formed in Phoenix, Arizona in 2004. You have Christopher L, quote unquote, on bass, Lennon Lopez on drums, Richie C on vocals, and Eli Santana on guitars. This is their 6th full-length studio album. Their debut album, The Slaughter, came out in 2009. All Out War in 2012, Up in Hell in 14, Oppression in 16, Built to Destroy in 19, and Wake Up Dead in 2022. Wake Up Dead is 10 tracks in length, 36 minutes and 45 seconds. So relatively easy, quick listen. You have track number 1, Fuck With Me, quote unquote, Wake Up Dead in parentheses at 3:08. Track 2, War Soup at 3:45. Track 3, Sucker Punched at 3:40. Track number 4, Deadbeat at 3:27. Track number 5, Mental Destruction at 4:38. Track 6, Built to Destroy at 4:08. Track 7, Stagnant at 3:25. Track 8, Fallen at 3:59. Track 9, The Aftermath at 3:33. And track 10, The Slaughter at 3:02. Track number 2 also features an appearance by Max Cavalera. Track 2, War Soup, which I thought was ironic because when I was listening to this album, I don't know about you, Jason, but I was like, this kind of sounds like Sepultura, early Sepultura.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of ironic because that's what I thought. And then once I was going back through, I was like, holy shit, fucking Max Cavalera was on this album. So my ears did not deceive me. So yeah, they sound like early Sepultura, maybe early Devil Driver, that same kind of, they are a groove metal band. So I think it kind of fits, so in kind of that same vein. Really liked the guitar work. The drums were really cool. A lot of good bass. Vocalist does a lot of a little more of the aggressive vocal, not full on gutturals, but still kind of sounds like sounds like Max Cavalera. Sounds a little bit like Des Fafara. Des Fafara is a little bit more aggressive in his vocal style, but still in that kind of same vein. So, not sure what kind of a rating you would have given this one. I gave it 3.5 horns out of 5. I liked it. enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I say, it's an easy listen, 36 minutes, almost 37 minutes. It was really easy to get through. It was very enjoyable.
I gave it a 4 horns. So
yeah,
I
definitely.
actually was more mad that I didn't know about them until their 6th album. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, but
then I made the comment of where's that face melt emoji again?
Yeah.
So we could use it. We could use it here. So
yeah, we could. Yes, we could.
But just want to touch base. I did listen to that Black Swan album. Of course, like I said, it was it's their 2nd album as Black Swan, but it's like I said, it's Robert McCauley, Jeff Pilson from Dokken, and Reb Beach and Matt Starr. So it's pretty much a super group. So
okay.
Like I said, if you're into the 80s, 90s scene type stuff, then it's definitely, if you like the McCauley Schenker group, I mean, of course you're going to like, this because it's Robert McCauley, but
right.
But yeah, I gave it 3 horns. It was pretty good. Like I said,
Nice.
it wasn't like, I guess it's more or less, it wasn't nothing that like reached out and said, hey, I'm different. You know what I mean? So it's
sure.
But I mean, as far as listening to it, yeah, I'd listen to it. But
nice.
And,
all right. Well, as far as April 15th coming up, we've got Aluna with Strange Machine. We have 3 re-releases from Armored Saint. We have Delirious Nomad, March of the Saint, and Raising Fear. We have Axel Rudy Pell with Lost 23. We have Dark Her with The Buried Storm. We have Devicious with Black Heart. JBO with Pink Planet. We have Managarm with Engling Atten's Ode, I guess. I don't know. Monuments with In Stasis. Nazareth with Surviving the Law. Poison Rose with Little Bang Theory. Ronnie Romero with Raised on Radio. Semblant with Vermilion Escape. Soulbound with Towards the Sun. That's a re-release for them. Stonebroken with Revelation. And These Arms Are Snakes with Duct Tape and Shivering Crows.
all right.
And I guess maybe potentially that new Dynasty album, because like I say, that was the one I was going to listen to this week, but couldn't find it anywhere. So as far as I know, they may have pushed it back without changing the date. So
awesome.
Yep. So those are the upcoming releases for next Friday.
So again, if you haven't checked out that new Destruction, do that as well. That's definitely it's 13 songs, 47 minutes, 21 seconds. So it's a little lengthy, but man, I'll take 13 Destruction songs any day. So.
And also like we said earlier, go check out Fear Comes Knocking by Eyes of the Living.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, you will not be we don't think you'll be disappointed by that album. We certainly weren't. So
no.
Yeah, and once again, we greatly appreciate those guys for coming out and hanging out with us. I'm sure they're right in the middle of jamming out right now. So
which I don't know. That would probably been cool too, just to sit back and listen to them jam. But
be like, go ahead and rehearse and just set your phone down and let us listen. Yeah.
Yeah, probably some stuff on there they probably wouldn't want to be leaked out. So
probably not. Yeah, but yeah, it'd have been cool to have been a fly on the wall during rehearsal. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that puts a bow on this one. Thank
you
guys for stopping in. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the Q&A, or I guess more or less the bullshit segments.
Kind of. Yeah.
We just got to sit back and let them roll with it. I kind of thought it was funny. He kept saying, "Oh, I'm sorry to be rambling." I said, "No, that's what we're here for." I mean,
that's what we do.
It's your platform right now, brother. It's ramble on. So.
Yep, that's exactly what we do.
I actually enjoyed that. Look forward to talking to some more bands here in the near future. So, but yeah, thanks for Tim and Chris for stopping in and taking time with us. Really do appreciate that, especially because I know they're a busy group.
They are busy.
Yeah, I was like, where do they find the time to do this stuff? But, almost like the Jerichos of the world.
Yep.
I still don't know. The guy's got to be cloned or something.
Yeah, might be.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys for dropping in. Hope you enjoyed the show. If not, and go back and listen to it later, check
Yep.
out the Eyes of the Living. Fear Comes Knocking Out on your favorite platform there. Download that, listen to it. Let us know what you think. I think you guys would enjoy it.
Mhm.
I know I did.
Me too.
I actually enjoyed it enough to buy a hard copy, so that tells you something. So
Yep. So
all
just
right.
want to before we go, just want to remind everybody about the Metalheads Unite Facebook group. We've had we've had about maybe another 10 members join just this week alone. So we're creeping up on 350. We do have the show available on YouTube now. We did get those bugs ironed out from last week. There was one thing that we forgot to do as far as getting the show moved over to YouTube, but we got that taken care of today. So the show is on YouTube now. You guys can go watch it live, or you can watch it after the fact over there. Just look for, Metalheads Unite. And then also, what did he put? What is that he put? Crowley posted? Yay, he's pointing right. Yeah, Jason's pointing right at the icon this time. He's getting really good at that. I'm gonna have to put it in a different spot. I'm gonna have to throw him a curveball.
I'm getting my Vanna White stuff going really good now.
There you go. Yeah, put you in an evening gown next week.
Nobody wants to see that.
But also want to remind everybody about VOPUSARadio.com. Go check out all of the content over there. Plenty of other cool shows. My brother's got his show over there. Got shows about wrestling, movies, politics galore. You want to hear a political rant from the boss? He's got them. Go check them out. On either side of the aisle, so it's not skewed one way or the other. So left of the aisle, right of the aisle. There's stuff for everybody. And then also the VOP USA Radio mobile app. You can check it out over there and listen to all your favorite VOP USA Radio shows on the go. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com email address. So that's still available if anybody ever decides they want to use it.
Yeah. If nothing else, YouTube will keep messaging.
That's right. Yeah, they will. But yeah, plenty of ways to get in contact with us if you wish to. But we'd be more than happy to hear from anybody.
And plenty of outlets to listen to us on, so you have no excuses. So
no, you really don't. Yeah, you really don't. Oh, I'm too busy. I don't want to hear that shit.
All right. Well, that we'll close this bad boy out. Hopefully, we will see you guys right back here next week. I got reached out to a couple of other bands, and hopefully we will hear something back on that, so we can get another talk lined up with another band.
Yeah,
I say talk because I don't really consider it a Q&A because we don't really ask a lot of questions. So
yeah,
we just kind of shoot the shit with them, which is kind of what we ask a little bit, but not nothing too crazy. It's more
we just keep it loose.
Yeah, loosey.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully we will see you guys back here next week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Thank you guys. Have a great week.
See you next week.